All right. Hey everybody. Welcome to another little stream here. Um we're going to be got a little something different today. Uh instead we're going to be diving into a different corner of the Life is Strange universe and world with there we go. With the novel Life is Strange Steph's story. So that is going to be something a little bit interesting. So, uh, without further ado, as always, JR here, and I thank everyone for tuning in and watching. So, with that, let's bring up the little stuff here. So this is gonna be this was a novel written by Rosie Thor. It's a really fun novel, pretty fun read. Um, we're gonna be following along with the with the audio with the audio book here, and this is and as you can see from the timestamp there, the whole book um is a little over uh 8 hours and 34 minutes. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to split these this book into probably about like 2 hours or so each. So we want to at least get around that time. So, the best part about um, this audiobook here for the novel is that it is going to be narrated by Steph herself, Katie Benz. So that is really amazing. I have listened to the audiobook and everything before. So uh, Katie, as always, does an amazing job, just like she did in Before the Storm and True Colors. She does an amazing job with this. Um, and anytime she's doing like like more of the inner monologues and any lines and stuff that she says, she's pretty much acting like Steph throughout the book. So it's not just like a bland narration of somebody just reading a book. Like it really comes off like like she's like acting throughout the whole thing. So really amazing, amazing, amazing stuff. Um, Also, the main. We'll read the back of the book real quick because this will give you a little bit an idea of what this novel is primarily going to be about. All right. So, here we go. Steph Green Gingrich has finally run out of uh chose to surf. Now she's back at her dad's place in Seattle to figure out what she wants to do with the rest of her life. Steph fills her time working at the local gamer cafe during the day and running RPG sessions at night. That is until Izzy whirls into Steph's existence, clutching a crumpled stack of band posters. Izzy is an electric a punk, a girl who likes girls, and a hell of a good guitarist. Turns out the punk life is exactly what Steph needs. She loves the music, the art, the fashion, but most of all, likes the girl. Entranced, she offers to drum for Izzy, forming the band Drugstore Makeup. A hit in more ways than one, Drugstore Makeup compete in a battle of the bands before deciding to tour the offbeat punk ventures of America. But Steph and Izzy soon find themselves on different wavelengths. Now, see what you did there. Unable to communicate and needing different things. All right. So, obviously the basic setup for this is an even prequel than the Steph DLC episode, Wavelengths from True Colors. So this is actually gonna delve into Steph's meaning of Izzy herself, the drugstore makeup stuff, and more into what led to them breaking up their relationship, and obviously Steph moving to going to Haven Springs. So we're obviously gonna have some cameos and stuff going on. But what's really gonna be funny is having Katie's impersonations of the different other characters and stuff. That's gonna be fun. uh, so, um, so we shall get this. We shall get this started, and I hope everyone will enjoy.
For everyone who marches to the beat of their own drum, and for those who can't yet, but still want to. The timeline, author's note. Life is Strange is a world of choices. Some are small and others are downright cosmic. None are inconsequential. Though Steph's life exists outside Arcadia Bay and Haven Springs, she is greatly impacted by events in both. Steph's story occurs in a timeline where Arcadia Bay was destroyed, but Chloe Price was not. One of many possibilities in the vast multiverse. Whether your choices mirrored these or not, I hope you choose to read Steph's story with an open mind and continue to bring your creativity to the infinite universes of Life is Strange. Spring
That. Oh.
1.
All right. So first of all, the it's always pretty important because just like the beginning of the comic books, that they establish right away the events that they're choosing to use to follow their story. So I really like that the multiple media, the novels and the comics always right out the gate immediately tell you that that this is the timeline that we're following. This is the events from the games that we're going to use within our story to piggyback off of. So always amazing that they set that out right out of the gate.
They say home is where the heart is, but I've never been in love. Sure, I've had my crushes, some attainable, and others, not so much. My childhood bedroom used to be covered in posters of Kristen Stewart and Avril Lavigne. Not anymore. I stand before the plain wooden door to my bedroom, or what will become my bedroom the second I walk across the threshold. Changed my mind. You think Leah will notice if I sleep in her studio? I tap out a text to Jordy, fingers too jittery to spell anything right. Luckily, autocorrect has my back. He replies almost immediately. I bet all the yarn in there would make a good nest. Right? Cozy. So, that bad being back at your dad's? My chest clenches and my throat closes up a bit. Dad's cleared a room for me in his new house. It's not really new. He's lived here since we moved to Seattle 5 years ago. I've managed to stay away as long as I can, between college dorms and couch surfing, but it's time to say goodbye to mooching off friends and hello to mooching off my father, since I've got my diploma and a knot the size of a small country under my shoulder blade. Maybe I'll hang that on the wall. The diploma, not my shoulder knot. No, I'm just being a baby. Well, grow up and then get down here. I'm bored out of my skull. I tuck my phone into my back pocket and take a deep breath before turning the knob and letting the door swing open. Dad's put in his best effort to make it feel like a real room. There's a plaid duvet covering the bed, and it's not even an ugly color. Blue and yellow, my favorites. Plus, he's built an IKEA dresser and some shelves all by himself. Like he doesn't realize I'm a lesbian. "You've got everything, Steph?" Dad calls up the stairs. It's strange, hearing his voice. We've lived in the same city all this time, but I can count on one hand the number of times we've actually been in the same space. Mostly we email. It's not that we don't get along, it's just that we thrive in text format. Guess it would be weird to email him my response to such a simple question, though. "Yep, I'm all set." I glance down at my belongings. It's a meager showing. Just my trusty purple suitcase and backpack. Commence the great unpacking. It should take me a grand total of 10 minutes to unload my clothes and toiletries and so on. I cut way back on all my stuff when I graduated. It just wasn't practical to be lugging around full-sized shampoo bottles or my boxes full of vinyl. Only the essentials for me. The one exception I made was my art supplies. They're the first thing I unpack. A sketchbook with a tattered cover and a plastic bag full of colored pencils at various lengths. My favorite colors near the end of its life. R.I.P. on mellow yellow. So I'll need to scrounge up some more before starting the next issue of my zine. For now, I stow them in the top drawer of the desk and turn back to the rest of the room. The walls are bare in this sanitized way that makes me nostalgic for DigiPen. Back in my dorm room, there wasn't an inch of wall to be seen there behind all my posters. Concert tickets and concept art for my senior project. A fully realized tabletop RPG set underwater that culminated in a battle between mecha mermaids and an undead legion of shipwrecked sailors. It got a little overwhelming near the end there. But now I actually miss those drawings of zombie pirates.
Sounds about right.
Organized chaos. That's my jam. This room is huge. Jordy's reply takes a few seconds. He must have customers at the shop. Yippee! No, like too huge. Cry me a fucking river. I groan. He's right, of course. Never thought I'd complain about having too much space, but it feels like this bedroom was put here specifically to mock me with its white walls, clean floor, and empty surfaces. What am I even gonna fill this place with? I don't have any stuff. OMG, girl, buy some with your adult money. LOL, what adult money? Even if I had cash to burn, I'm not sure what I'd want to display. My life these days is mostly working at the board game cafe and figuring out whose couch I'll be crashing on. Now that I don't have to worry about the latter, it's like there's this void to fill. Like if I don't figure out who I am, I'll disappear against a backdrop of eggshell paint. My gaze snags on some loose papers on the dresser by the window. On top is a brochure for a coding boot camp. Snore. If I wanted to sit behind a desk all day, I'd have actually applied for jobs in the video game industry with that fancy game design degree of mine. Maybe someday I'll see the appeal, but for now, I want to be on my feet in the world, not staring at a screen. Underneath the brochure is a flyer for the Oregon Shakespeare Festival down in Ashland. I know it's famous and a tech job might be fun, but I can't see myself going back to Oregon. Besides, I lost my taste for the Bard after doing the Tempest back in high school. Turns out storms really aren't my thing. My phone buzzes, but it's not Jordy. I have a new email from Dad.
That's a very, very fun shout out to. Nice that she mentioned the Tempest from Before the Storm. That's pretty fun. And a little explanation on how her transition from being the play manager stuff, and then now into the jobs and stuff that she's doing now. So very nice transition.
I roll my eyes. But it's not like I have room to judge since I considered doing the same thing just a few minutes ago. We really are hopeless at communication. Maybe we'll get better now that we're cohabitating. The email is a forwarded job listing for an IT position at his work. Thought of you, sweetie. Let me know if you apply and I'll put in a good word. I sigh and type out a quick reply. Thanks, Dad. What I don't say is I'd rather eat my own hand than have him get me a job, especially one I don't want. You couldn't pay me to exchange the freedom of my hourly barista job for corporate IT. Not for all the health insurance and 401ks in the world. I'd much rather be slinging coffee beans on my feet all day than repeatedly telling people my dad's age to stop using Internet Explorer. I check the time. Still a few hours before I need to be at my actual job. The one I got all by myself. Thank you very much. But one more glance around this room that feels more hotel than home sends me out the door. I can always unpack later. It takes me 30 minutes of fast walking downhill, across the Ballard Bridge, then through a sketchy parking lot to reach Save Point from my dad's house in Queen Anne. Not a bad commute to the board game cafe I've worked at for the past 6 months. I shove open the door with my shoulder, and the electronic bell announces my arrival with the victory music from Final Fantasy. Jordy Abdullah's round brown face covered in fresh black stubble pops up over the counter. He's wearing a rumpled button-up with a purple Morning Glory print under his apron and a pained expression. Steph, oh my God, I could kiss you. Yeah, but you won't. I amble over and lean my elbows on the laminated menu. Ollie didn't show, and Amy couldn't find anyone else to take the shift, so I've been working a double. Wow. So we hate Ollie today, yeah? I slip around the counter and grab an extra apron. Nah, he's out sick. Time of the month. Jordy sighs and wrinkles his nose. Can you cover for a sec? It's tea time, plus I have to pee. Release the river, I shout in the deepest Treebeard impression I can manage as Jordy does a little skip over to the bathroom. It's afternoon, so the shop isn't very crowded. A guy in a flat cap sits by himself, sipping a house coffee, or home brew, as we call it at Save Point. while typing furiously on a laptop with a proudly displayed Plant Dad sticker in the corner. And over by the window, a small group of teenagers are playing code names. There will be a rush any minute with school letting out at 3, so I set up the grinder and unload the dishwasher while I wait for Jordy. A John Mayer song plays over the speakers, and I eye the store's tablet plugged into the wall. I may not be technically scheduled, but if I'm working, at least the music isn't going to suck. I sneak over and swipe to a different playlist. Cherry Lips by Garbage blares from the speakers, and I shimmy my shoulders to the beat. The techno intro is punctuated by a single rendition of victory music as the cafe door swings open and closed, and I turn to greet our new customer. And there she is, a wind-blown white girl with long black hair, blunt-cut bangs, and an ear full of gold rings and studs stands opposite me.
All right, hold on. Be right back. Let me throw this away to get some room on the table. There we go. Okay.
Clutching a stack of loose papers to her chest. I extract myself from my one-woman dance party and meet her at the counter. Welcome to Save Point. What can I do you for? The girl's gaze sweeps over and past me, her brown eyes lined with sharp black and purple liner. Is Jordy in? She asks. He's on break. I jam my thumb behind me toward the back of the store. Jordy hasn't been gone long, but I know it can be a bit of an ordeal to take his testosterone at work, and I'm not about to be the asshole who interrupts his legally mandated 15 minutes. It'll probably be a bit if you want to wait. She nods, glancing over at the empty tables, but doesn't move to sit. Can I make you something? I gesture toward the espresso machine. Her eyes find the menu on the counter. I'll have a cinnamon roll for initiative and, I guess, an Eldritch Baja Blast. Long or short rest? I say, pointing to the ceramic mug and to-go cup on display. At the lost look on her face, I add, for here to go. Here. On it. I give her my best smile and turn to make her drink. A pineapple and mango smoothie topped with blackberry cream. My gaze drifts from the blender full of fruit chunks to follow her movement as she sits on a stool at the bar, carefully guarding her papers like a windstorm might come along and blow them all into the air, which, to be fair, isn't outside the scope of normal for Seattle. What you got there? I ask, nudging the papers with my pinky as I slide her cinnamon roll across the counter. What? Oh. She looks down at the stack in her arms as though she's only just remembered she's carrying them. Flyers. I start up the blender, letting the loud sound fill the space between us. Working here, I see all types of people. Shy, loud, weird, rude. But I've never encountered this exact combination of nervous and cool. I can't tell if she's blowing me off because I'm obviously a nerd or if there's something else distracting her. It's strange to see someone so clearly confident in who they are be so uncomfortable in a space as normal as a coffee shop. Therefore, my band. She offers after the blender whirs to a stop and she holds up a flyer for me to see.
At least they're not.
We're playing at Bar None this weekend. The page is filled with Art Deco lettering on a black background spelling out the words Vinyl Resting Place. Beneath is a drawing of a drum kit with records instead of cymbals and a dark gold sound wave. Jordy said I could stick one of these in the window. Definitely. I rustle in one of the drawers and pull out a roll of tape. That's rad. I love music. This your playlist? She asks, pointing to the speakers while I make room by tearing down a poster for a haunted corn maze that definitely isn't still going in April. Oh yeah, Just threw something fun on to liven up the place. I press a line of tape to her flyer and stick it to the window before turning back to find her gaze on me. I catch her eye and hold it for a beat too long. They're bright and brown like a whole planet lives inside her irises. Maybe I won't bother unpacking at Dad's house. I'll just move to whatever solar system she's hiding in there. At that moment, the song changes and Rebel Girl by Bikini Kill fills the room. I like it. Old school. Relief knocks my shoulders down a solid inch. I'm an equal opportunist when it comes to music, so it just as easily could have been Weird Al or the Wicked soundtrack. I don't get embarrassed by my taste in music as a rule. I like what I like, and if someone has a problem with it, that says more about them than me. But for some reason, I really want this girl to think I have good taste. Whatever good taste is, anyway.
Yeah, Steph, go get it.
Izzy! Jordy returns quicker than expected. You made it. Glad to see you found the place. He gestures to our surroundings with a flourish. The girl's, Izzy's, demeanor changes immediately. Her shoulders straighten and her eyes brighten. Jordy reaches out to hug her, and for a second I wonder if there's something he forgot to tell me. Like that he's suddenly into girls? I give him a look, but all his focus is on Izzy. It's like a 2-minute walk from my place. I'd have to be decapitated to get lost, says Izzy, pulling back. Could be cool though, right? You could carry your head around under your arm and freak people out, headless horseman style. I return to the counter and throw a mint sprig on Izzy's drink before sliding it over to her. Izzy, this is Steph. Steph, Izzy. She was the coolest French tutor I ever had. Did you have more than one French tutor? Izzy's voice has lost some of its restraint, and her lips upturn in a smile. Nope, doesn't make you less cool. Jordy tears a piece off Izzy's cinnamon roll, then says through a mouthful of pastry, "You two have that in common." He's right, I say, tipping my head just a bit closer to Izzy's and sliding forward on my elbows. We are exceptionally cool. Jordy leans in conspiratorially, a twinkle in his warm brown eyes that almost always precedes some mischief. You're also both lesbians. Discuss. He hops up and ducks behind the counter to clean the blender, leaving me face to face with Izzy.
That's really fucked up, by the way. Just...
Lizzie glances up at me, expression entirely unreadable. Jordy! I swear he is...
It's really fucked up. He just goes and like blows their spot like that. That's not the best wingman tactic there.
Is the worst wingman in the history of wingmen.
Exactly, thank you.
Honestly, for a fellow queer person, Jordy should know better. Being into girls is the bare minimum requirement for my dating pool. And as much as I'm all about Izzy's vibe, if she's accepting girlfriend applications, it probably won't be from the barista at the game cafe. I know I should say something else to save Izzy from having to reject me here and now, but before I can think of a joke to cut the tension, she raises one eyebrow, the hint of a smirk on her lips. So what kind of lesbian are you? She asks. The kind that likes girls? She nods and sips her smoothie. Same. Izzy's the rock star kind of lesbian. Jordy supplies helpfully. Her band rocks. Pun not intended. Liar, I say at the exact same time Izzy says, yeah, right. I catch her eye and scrunch my face in a way that is absolutely the least attractive I've ever looked. Not counting the year I dressed up as a mayonnaise packet for Halloween. Jordy just shrugs. What can I say? I'm a pun gay. He turns his glittering gaze on me. And Steph's a gamer gay. A gamer, if you will.
Oh, Lord.
I absolutely will not. I mutter. Oh, God.
We have to work in all the cringy puns and stuff we can. Even when we're not doing the games or anything, we still gotta work them in at some point.
Oh, come on. You're an amazing GM. Jordy elbows me, mistaking my objection to his pun for self-deprecation. Really, you should see Steph in action. Last week, she had us fighting these giant gargoyles in dense fog with an acid pit on one side of the battlefield and a steep cliff on the other. Sounds harrowing, Izzy says. I'm not in a judgment from anyone as far as my hobbies go. If people think I'm a nerd because of it, well, they're right. I am a nerd and proud of it. Still, something about Izzy has me checking her expression for signs of disdain. Thankfully, I don't find any. Harrowing is right. Steph's got a gift. Really makes you feel like you're there. Jordy taps a laminated copy of our events calendar on the bar. We play every Friday night if you want to check it out. Oh, I don't really know how to play. Hey, newcomers are always welcome at my table. I fish for a copy of the calendar behind the counter and pass it over.
You always gotta do the D&D. You can't have a Steph story in any way without a D&D session somewhere. Note to anyone that puts Steph in any story. You always have to have the D&D in there. It's not authentically Steph without that.
Plus, it's really not that hard. Rolling dice, a little basic math, a vivid imagination. I bet you'd have fun. Think about it. Trade you. Izzy slides one of her own flyers into my hand, smooth as can be. Gigs on Saturday. Maybe you can add something new to that playlist of yours. I fold the flyer and tuck it into my pocket. But all through the evening rush, it lurks at the back of my mind. I don't forget, even as a classic Seattle spring rain pelts my face on the way home. And when I get there, I don't bother to finish unpacking. The last thing I do before flopping into bed is jam a thumbtack through the top of the flyer and pin it to my wall. I knew it wouldn't stay empty for long. 2. In the magical realm of Windmire, I am the king of the castle. I'm also the evil advisor, the barmaid with a dark secret, the shopkeeper desperate to offload a cursed dagger, and the ice blue dragon atop the mountain watching over it all. From behind my GM screen, I have total control. Except when I don't. Natural 20. Jordy pumps his fist in the air. With only 2 hit points left, the beholder they're fighting really doesn't stand a chance. But I'm not one to spoil the fun. Besides, I love the clickety-clackety of a satisfying dice roll. The beholder turns its massive eye on the great wizard's strive. You see yourself reflected in its iris, the same cerulean color of your skin. Your robes billow out behind you as you reach for the dagger at your waist and press the flat of the blade to your lips. Your whispered spell becomes a mote of flame that engulfs the monster before you. I point to Jordy's carefully organized dice tray, replete with colorful hand-poured resin dice made for him by our friend Leah. Roll your damage. Jordy grabs a clear D10 with swirls of red and orange and flips it onto the table. It lands with a gold number 3 facing up, and Jordy's expression falters. Hey, you critted though, so double the dice. Faye, one of our regular game night attendees, nudges Jordy with an encouraging smile uncharacteristic of her stoic and stabby character, a rogue of many knives and few words. Okay, so 6 points of damage, Jordy says. As the flames dissipate, you feel a vibration through the chamber. The beholder falls to the ground, unmoving. Yes! There's a resounding cry of victory from the players, and several of them leap out of their seats. Jordy's grin is so wide it's in danger of falling off his face, and Faye is hugging Steven, a new player who just started tonight. His character, a little bard girl named Osana, fell in battle only moments before, but he's taking it like a champ. This is the good stuff. This is why I play this game. friends and strangers joining together to triumph over evil. Spellcasters aren't the only ones wielding magic in the cafe tonight. It's the people. As if on cue, the Final Fantasy victory theme plays as the door to Save Point swings open. My heart jumps into my throat, eyes darting up to look for a flash of black hair. But it's not Izzy. I try not to let my disappointment show on my face as Pixie rushes in. Sorry I'm late. Pixie crosses over to the table and pulls out a chair. Small and sprightly, Pixie's name fits her perfectly. She's even wearing a t-shirt with a cartoon ghost holding a magic wand that says bippity boppity boo in curly purple letters that match her violet hijab. Band practice ran along. Pixie is without a doubt one of my coolest friends. She plays Dungeons and Dragons almost as well as she plays drums. We met during my sophomore year of college when I helped tech her graduation. Pixie's band, the High Seas, played a set, and it was the most piratey fun I've ever had.
Now that is an amazing connection to the comic books, because the High Seas and Izzy and whatnot are characters from that originated in the comic series. Because if you've seen the comic series, they're really good friends with Max and Chloe, so it's really it makes sense that they would make a cameo in this story, mainly because towards the end of the Max and Chloe run of the comic books, it is shown that that Pixie and Steph are actually friends who do play like long distance D&D, like how Steph did with Mikey in the Wavelengths episode. She does the same thing with Pixie. So that's really a really fun connection that we keep that going here.
I've gone to every one of their gigs since, and Pixie comes out for game night whenever she can. Even when the High Seas are on tour, we play an adventure over video chat so she can still get her RPG fix.
Exactly.
I'd say no worries, but Osana's down and we could use a healer, Faye says, jabbing her thumb at Steven. Womp womp. Steven's face splits into a goofy grin. Can't believe I died my first time playing. Pixie shoots me an appraising look. I can.
Hey, you gotta build
Steph,
experience.
you've got to stop scaring off new players. Hey, I just do what the dice tell me. I raise my hands and shrug. Besides, she's not, like, fully dead. Pixie plops a dice bag as big as her head onto the table and fishes out a couple D8s. Mauser does a second-level cure wounds. Exactly as I'd hoped. I rub my hands together and set the scene. Mauser, you burst through the door just as the battle ends, red hair tangled with twigs and leaves in your rush to catch up, seeing Osana motionless on the ground, and the crestfallen faces of your companions. You fall to your knees and grasp the bard's hand. A few whispered words pass your lips, and light travels up Osana's arm into her chest. Pixie rolls her dice, and I turn to Steven, gesturing at the numbers face up on the table. Osana, you feel warmth spread through your body. A weightlessness that had passed over you fizzles, and you feel yourself falling into your own body. With a jolt, you return to life, and the first thing you see is a smiling half-orc in plate armor with a giant shimmering axe by her side. Steven's eyes shoot open, and he turns to Pixie. I sit up slowly and say, "Thank you, thank you." He's adopted a slight German accent for Osana, talking quickly. Don't mention it. Pixie waves him off, her own character voice for Mouser fairly low and even. Not at all her usual buoyant way of speaking. "I shall write about your greatness in my book," Stephen says in his Osana voice. "I am a storyteller, you see, and it would be a shame not to make a record of your heroic deeds." Pixie just shrugs and grunts. Jordy leans across the table to murmur, "That's a lovely sentiment, Osana, but Mouser can't read." Pixie winks, and her voice returns to normal. Intelligence is my dump stat. Technically, there's not a mechanic for literacy, but I thought it made sense for my character. I help Osana to her feet and give her back her violin bow, Faye says. But I sort of twirl it like I'm doing a knife trick. She adds as an afterthought. "Make a dexterity check." Faye rolls a d20. It clacks across the table to land face up on a natural 1. "Yeah, you break it." "Well, I guess that's as good a quest as any." Jordy turns to Stephen with a glint in his eye. "What do you say? Shall we venture out to find you a new instrument?" Stephen nods eagerly. "Sure, but first, I have this mending spell. Would that do anything?" As Faye and Pixie lean in to look at Stephen's character sheet, I get up to stretch my legs. We've been playing for about an hour, so a break is in order, plus I'm starving. I duck behind the counter to grab a couple of day-old pastries for the group. We're lucky that our store manager, Amy, lets us use the space like this. Technically, Jordy and I are both working this evening, but no one comes in besides the usual crew and the occasional newbie. Still, they're all good sports about it, and usually buy a drink or two so we can keep justifying it. As I whip together a hot chocolate for Pixie and refills for the others, my eyes keep drifting toward the front door. It stays resolutely shut. Waiting for Goth Godot? Jordy sidles up next to me, eyes following my gaze to the door. I shrug with my best effort to appear nonchalant. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Oh, come on." Jordy grabs the plate of pastries and passes it across the counter to Pixie. I may be useless at flirting, but I know chemistry when I see it. "I don't know. I kind of thought she'd come, like maybe we had a connection or something." I lean back against the sink. Cool metal bites into my skin where my t-shirt has ridden up, shocking me back to reality. But it's a Friday night. Probably she had something better to do. Better than fighting a beholder? I don't know, seems fake. "It's fine," I say, the words bitter on my tongue. The truth is, as much as I love playing this game, it's been a long time since I've had much to do on a Friday night besides this. I thought when I graduated from college my life would really kickstart. But classes and homework have just been replaced by working at the cafe, and now a weekly routine of dinners with Dad. Even on the nights I hang with friends, we just do the same thing. On Sundays, we chill at Leah's and watch Game of Thrones. On Thursdays, we go to Jordy's for Critical Role, this awesome live stream where voice actors play Dungeons and Dragons. And then on Fridays, we're here in the shop to play ourselves. I like all that stuff. I do. I just thought my life would have a little more adventure in it. Real adventure. Not only the kind in my imagination. Maybe it wasn't meant to be, I say. Bad roll on the dice, you know?
You know, don't worry, Steph. You'll have some adventure, all right. Before this book is over, and definitely when True Colors rolls around, you definitely will.
Now that's some bullshit. Jordy whips around, planting the tip of his finger against my sternum. You're the game master, Steph. You make the rules. In Windmire, yeah. Not in real life. Why not? I swallow hard, thinking of all the things in the world I haven't been able to control. My parents' divorce, my mom running out of cash to keep me at Blackwell Academy, a literal storm ripping through my life and changing everything. But it's silly to compare Izzy to all those things. She's just a girl. She's not going to wreck me. Fuck it. I push off from the counter and land on the opposite side beside Jordy. I'll just go to her gig tomorrow. Now that's the stuff I know. But you have to come with me, I say quickly. I don't want to look desperate. Jordy's expression falters for a split second, but he recovers quickly. Yeah, okay. I was already planning to go with Ollie. Even better, you could be my entourage. Jordy makes a guttural retching noise. Please never call us that again. Fair enough. I grab Jordy by the arm and lead him back out to the table where Pixie, Faye, and Steven are already munching on muffins and croissants. I settle in behind the GM screen and glance down at my notes. I've prepared an adventure for them through a haunted crypt, where they'll eventually fight a lich. But suddenly, I'm not feeling the dark and dreary labyrinth I've planned. Instead, I close my notebook and look up at my players. All right, I believe you wanted to look for a new instrument for Osana. Stephen nods vigorously, putting on his character voice as he replies, Oh yes, the violin has such a lovely sound, but I think I'd like something a little louder for battle. A grin spreads across my face, and the words flow like a wish. You're familiar with fables of a nearby mountain where thunder caps its peak. A 6-stringed instrument is rumored to be the cause, lightning sparking with every note. As you approach the trailhead, echoing down the rocky path, you hear the striking minor chord of an electric guitar. 3. There's this energy in the air at an indie concert, like waiting for lightning to strike in a storm. It's not the same as the big stadium shows, where every single person there is the biggest fan ever, and no one can afford seats within a mile of the stage. Here at Bar None, people are packed along the walls, drinks in hand. Conversation fills the space as the audience buzzes with anticipation, cast in a purple glow from the stage lights. It feels like being underwater. It feels like standing at the top of the Space Needle. It feels like something great is about to happen. So of course, after about 12 seconds of being there, I spill the completely full drink Ollie just handed me down my shirt. Shit, are you kidding me? I groan. R.I.P., pear cider. You would have been delicious. It'll dry, I guess, Jordy offers. Want me to get you another? Nah, don't bother. I hold the front of my Fleetwood Mac t-shirt away from my body, fanning it in a ludicrous attempt to dry it faster. Absolutely outstanding. Top-notch Steph content. Ollie brings his hand down on my shoulder, a smile creasing his face. Oh my God, remember in school when I was there. Oliver, I grumble. Ollie's not even bothering to hide his obvious glee at my misfortune, blue eyes twinkling. He has this deceptive innocence to him. It's probably his dimples. Round face with curly hair and freckles. Ollie looks like a farm boy who's just found out he has magic powers pretty much all the time. It's deeply annoying and also adorable. Already, he's turned to Jordy to regale him with my many embarrassing exploits from our college days. That's the problem with working alongside your old roommate. They know all your secrets. But maybe that's a perk too, because as Jordy nods along eagerly, eyes fixed on Ollie, I can see the way Ollie leans in, the way his elbow brushes Jordy's. I stifle a laugh. This diabolical genius made me spill my drink on purpose to get rid of me. I think I saw a merch vendor over by the stage. Maybe they have t-shirts. But neither of them are listening to me. Too wrapped up in each other's company for little old Steph and her t-shirt emergency. I squeeze through the crowd, pulling out my phone to shoot Ollie a few quick texts. Is this a date? Am I third-wheeling your date? If you two wanted to be alone so badly, you could have told me to fuck off, OMG. It's hilarious and a little sad that even after all these years, Ollie and I are still so bad at this. In the 2 years we roomed together, before he came out and switched to the boys' dorms, I walked in on him clearly making a move in our room too many times to count. Those memories are etched into my brain forever. At least this time they're both wearing clothes. Thankfully, the merch booth in the far corner does, in fact, have t-shirts.
At least Steph has a friend, like a close friend that she could kind of bounce off of. Because since because I think Mikey probably gets a cameo somewhere in here, but since someone like Mikey is not like a main supporting character, at least she has someone here to kind of bounce off of. Especially since, they didn't that they don't have a solidified relationship with Izzy and everything yet, and we're still building to that. So you need at least somebody to to bounce off of back and forth. So at least we got her friend here to help with that.
They're sold out of my size, so I get a large with the same logo from the flyer and hand over a 20. Is there somewhere I can change? I ask, looking around for a bathroom. Steph? Izzy's voice is feather soft, like sinking into a gigantic pillow. She stands off to the side, dark red electric guitar slung over her shoulder, wearing a leather jacket and black lipstick. Meanwhile, I'm wearing a pint of fermented fruit. Great. Hey, Izzy. Cool venue, very wet drinks. I manage, totally normal, nothing weird to see here. Her lips twist into a smile, a little peak of red popping through as she catches her tongue between her teeth in a laugh. I can see that. Yeah, about that. I hold up my new vinyl resting place t-shirt. Follow me. You can change backstage. Izzy's hand closes around my wrist to pull me forward, and my brain stutters to a stop, and all I can think about is her fingers on me. Can she feel my pulse jump beneath my skin? We wind through a dark hallway into a back room that's more garage than green room. The walls are lined with boxes and kegs, and the floor is cracked cement. 3 other girls are clustered near the door. One carries an electric bass by the neck, and another twirls drumsticks between her fingers. There you are, we're about to go on, says the third, a redhead with a short bob and a tight tank top. Just a sec, okay? Steph needs to place a change. I give them a little wave, but the rest of Vinyl Resting Place doesn't seem all that interested in me. That's fair. Here, for privacy. Izzy guides me around the back of a dark blue van, parked in the green room. Its bumper adorned with a dozen stickers, toting various messages, from a rainbow steer queer to I break for Bigfoot. I give her a thumbs up, and when she turns her back, I quickly strip out of my wet t-shirt and into the new one. Okay, all set, I say, a little breathless. Izzy turns and looks me up and down. Bit big. I just shrug. That's okay, I'll just wear it as pajamas. Dope. Izzy grins wide and genuine. Maybe I'll dream of rock and roll. Izzy, calls one of her bandmates. Ditch the groupie and let's go. Coming, she shouts back, but doesn't make a move to leave. Instead, she slides the guitar around so the strap holds it on like a backpack and takes a step toward me. My breath hitches, and for a moment I think she's going to kiss me, which is wild. Cool rocker girls don't just take Steph Gingrich backstage to make out. And even if they did, Ollie and Jordy would never believe me. But then, Izzy takes a fistful of my t-shirt and twists a hairband around it so the fabric cinches in at my waist. Her fingers lightly brush my stomach as she tucks the knot up under the shirt. There, she says when she's done, stepping back to examine her handiwork. Very cute. As she joins her bandmates and heads toward the stage, I follow at a distance, absently brushing my hand against the hem of my shirt where her fingers ghosted against my skin. I don't even care when I can't find Jordy and Ollie in the crowd. The lead singer's voice crackles over the speakers. We're Vinyl Resting Place. Who's ready to rock and roll over in their graves? A cheer ripples out over the audience. I plant myself beside the stage, just a few feet from Izzy as her fingers fly across the strings to play the opening notes to their first song. I can't see the lead singer, or any of the undoubtedly cool lighting. But that's okay. The view's better from here anyway. live music is the closest thing to magic I've ever experienced. When I GM, magic can be destructive or illusory or even healing. But in the real world, music is everything. I bounce on my feet, dancing in my little scrap of space near the stage as Vinyl Resting Place play their set. Notes lighting me up like fire. If songs are spell work, then Izzy is a sorceress. Her fingers dance across the strings, a mesmerizing melody spinning from her instrument. I am entranced, a willing victim of her witchcraft. It isn't until my phone buzzes in my pocket for what must be the 9th time in a row that I finally tear my eyes away to check the stream of texts from the group chat. Jordy. Steph, where are you? Seriously, you okay? Did you get abducted by aliens? Ollie. If so, bring us back a souvenir. Also, are the aliens hot? Jordy.
If she got abducted by aliens, why why would the main thing be, are the aliens hot? I guess that's one way to make first contact, huh? Oh, Lord.
Ollie's knee is hurting, so I'm gonna take him home. Do you want a ride or are you good? Ollie. Wow, you're not gonna offer me a ride? Jordy. I literally said I was driving you home. Never mind, I just got it. Oblivious Ace strikes again. Ollie. You misspelled adorable. I bite back a grin. It's about time Jordy and Ollie found each other, and I can't help but feel overcome with hope at their relationship finally blossoming. Maybe it's a sign.
She's one to talk about wanting a relationship to blossom, huh? Especially when she's over here trying to get her own shit to blossom over here. Like, come on, girl.
Get a room! But really, I'll be fine. You kids have fun. I tuck my phone away and turn back to the stage as the song ends with an explosive chord and a cymbal crash. Thank you, shouts the lead singer. We're Vinyl Resting Place, and we've been great. There's a collective chuckle from the audience as 3 of the 4 band members unplug their instruments and head my way. Izzy stands alone, looking over her shoulder, eyes wide and brow pinched. For a second, I think she's about to play a solo or something, but then she unplugs her guitar and follows the others. You were amazing! I shout over the noise of the crowd dispersing. Izzy catches my eye and smiles weakly. Hey, thanks. Her gaze bounces from me to the rest of her band, disappearing into the shadowy hallway toward the green room. I have to take care of something first, but don't go anywhere, okay? Meet me in like 15? I nod vigorously. Way too much, like my neck hurts from all the nodding. Cool. She flashes me a smile before vanishing too. I lean against the wall to wait and scroll social media, but I'm barely looking. A few texts from Jordy trickle in and I do my best to answer, but all my attention is on that hallway, waiting for Izzy to reappear. Did you know Oliver liked me? Steph, what do I do if he kisses me? LOL, kiss him back. Right, but I mean, how? Like, with your mouth? How am I supposed to breathe? I don't know if you know this, Jordy, but when you have your first kiss, you actually grow gills.
Oh. Really? Awkward? I was like, just kiss the person, dude. Like unless you're trying to suck the soul out of somebody, I don't think you need to really worry about breathing. Like, bro, you have a nose. You know you can breathe through your nose while you're kissing someone, right? Just saying.
Okay, so like, through my nose? I'm so stupid. Why does he like me?
Exactly.
Because you're stupid. It's gonna be okay, man. Just talk to Ollie about it. He knows you're ace, and he's not a dick. You can figure it out together. Thanks, Steph. There's movement down the hall, and I stand up straighter. Then I remember I'm the furthest thing from straight, so I contort my body into a casual lean that hopefully
Haha,
conveys that Steph Gingrich is a lesbian dreamboat, available for post-gig smooching, but the voice that carries up the hall toward me isn't Izzy's. The song just isn't our sound. If she doesn't get that, then she's not right for Vinyl Resting Place. It's the lead singer, sporting short copper hair and a leather vest. The bassist and drummer flank her, nodding. Maybe it was harsh, but honestly, she needed to hear it. It wasn't that harsh. We've been thinking it for weeks, the bassist says. I'm just surprised she didn't see it coming. I push off the wall. The drummer's shoulder bumps mine, and she doesn't even bother to apologize. My mind races, but not as fast as my feet, which carry me back to the green room. Izzy sits on the floor, guitar laid across her legs, shoulders slumped. She stares at a point across the room with unfocused eyes. I want to sit down beside her, tell her she was brilliant, hold her hand through whatever she's dealing with. I remind myself I'm just Steph, some girl she met at a cafe. I'm not anyone to her. I'm not anyone to a lot of people. But then she says my name, and I forget about everyone else.
Very very lacking a lot of self-confidence from Steph here. Uh, since we're going with the the Chloe being alive timeline, kind of makes sense considering since what we learned in wavelengths, she loses her mother during the storm because her mother was homed when all that happened. So that's one thing. Obviously, Chloe leaving right after the storm, and then Mikey with losing his brother Drew in the storm. So, Steph and him both dealing with family members getting lost in the storm, and then and obviously finding out what happened to Rachel the whole after the whole incident and everything. So yeah, the especially the Rachel thing, since originally she had a crush on Rachel and everything, and then once the Rachel and Chloe relationship got established, at least she was they all still hung out together, all four of them: Chloe, Rachel, Steph, and Mikey. So that's kind of nice. And then her admitting to secret jealousy or whatnot that maybe she had and everything. So a lot of conflicting feelings from Steph here that would lead to her self doubts and confidence here. So you know we'll see how that further affects her and how she'll get over some of those things. Like obviously the Arcadia Bay thing, she still has to get over because since this takes place before wavelengths, she's not really gonna get over that in this story. But you know,
Steph? Shit, I forgot. I'll get my stuff. Don't worry about it. I glance over my shoulder to check we're alone. Are you okay? Yeah, totally fine. Her voice is too high, her smile too wide. Her eyes swim with unshed tears and she sniffles. Damn it. I shrug and lean against the doorframe. Look, if you want to be fine, then we can do that. We can get a drink and celebrate an awesome gig, and maybe you give me your number? Yeah? Yeah. I push off the wall and cross to her, sinking onto my knees. But if you're not fine, we can also do this. I roll onto my hip and sit beside her, elbows knocking. What's this? She asks. We sit here and you tell me what happened. I tell you your bandmates are assholes and you're the real star, and then you still give me your number. A laugh breaks through her chest, harsh and a little raw. I think I'd like that. The second option, I mean.
That's one way of
Great.
sealing the deal.
Because I have some choice expletives in mind, and I'd really hate for them to go to waste. Izzy is a pretty crier. Not in the way actresses are, where their face stays the same and they just shed a couple tears. Izzy is pretty when she cries because she really cries. Maybe it's the crying that's beautiful because she's not afraid to show how she feels. Or maybe it's the girl underneath the tears. Maybe I'd think Izzy was pretty no matter how red her face gets. She's hurt and she's angry and I don't know how to fix it. But then she's not asking me to. They just don't get it, Izzy says through a sigh. They want our original music to be like, I don't know, chill vibes only? What does that even mean? I make a face. You're a rock band. That's not exactly easy listening. I think they mean they want our songs to feel positive. So no singing about your recent breakup or how much it sucks to be a hot single rock star? Are you trying to ask if I'm single? Izzy elbows me in the ribs, but there's a smile on her lips that wasn't there before. Then she leans back against her van, and her eyes flutter closed. Here's the thing. They don't understand that my life isn't just rainbows and iced coffee, you know? I've seen some shit, and I don't just want to sing about love and partying. I want to sing about stuff that makes me angry and stuff that makes me sad, too. And they don't like that. She shakes her head. We were supposed to debut my new song tonight. We've been practicing it for weeks, and I thought it was good. But I guess they all decided without me that Vinyl Resting Place doesn't need Izzy Margolis. That sucks. My eyes fall to her hand, palm up on her dark wash jeans. It would be so easy to just put mine in hers. Her skin looks soft, and I want to trace my fingertip along the creases of her lifeline. And maybe that would make her feel better. Or maybe it would just make me feel better. So instead, I look up at her face, at the smeared mascara along her cheekbones, and the lipstick flaking off her lips. And I lean in to say, "Can I hear it?" Izzy's chin dips to her chest and she rolls her lip between her teeth. I mean, how? It's just me. Izzy unplugged. I wave my hand before us, as if pointing to her name in lights, and she giggles. I could probably do some bucket drumming, get a beat going. I'm not really a singer. So, I rise to my feet and hold out my hand. I'm not really a drummer. It's been years since I've picked up a set of drumsticks. But for Izzy, I'm willing to put my muscle memory to the test. We're both liars, as it turns out. The acoustics in the green room suck, but Izzy's voice carries anyway. Her song is raw and wounded, rising like a treacherous tide. I'm pulled under, breath catching in my throat as she sings. Chew me up and spit me out. You'll still hear me scream and shout. I reject your hetero-cis pull. The closet's full. We must come out. I keep time, positioned behind the drum kit in Izzy's van. The drumsticks feel weighty in my hand, like each beat matters, just like each word. Don't eat that. Pose. Be quiet. You can't make this body diet. They won't teach you this in school. The first pride was a riot. When she finishes, the last note tearing from her throat, she looks up. Her eyes are storms, cloudy and chaotic. Hell yes, I say in a soft exhale. That was so good. Like, so good. I'm almost shaking with the adrenaline, electric current spiking through my limbs. Yeah? A blush creeps across Izzy's face. I mean, yeah, I thought so too. No offense or anything, but why are you playing literally anything else? I extract myself from the drum kit, accidentally crashing into the hi-hat on my way. And also, why aren't you the lead singer? Because Astrid doesn't matter. She does if I want to stay in the band, Izzy grumbles. I hop down from the van and clap a hand on Izzy's shoulder. And why the hell would you want to do that? They clearly don't get you, your talent, or your sound. They're just dragging you down. Is this your way of doing the you're better off without them thing to make me feel better? She narrows her eyes. Is it working? I don't know. Izzy sets her guitar down on the bed of the van and turns to face me, hands on her hips. Maybe you should try a little harder. I cut my hands to my mouth and mimic the sounds of a rabid crowd. Izzy, encore, encore, you're the best rock star in the world! Izzy grins and beckons with her hands for more. Yeah, let's go, Izzy, your sound is on fire! Can I have your autograph? I travel around her in a circle, bowing and fanning her with my hands as if to say, we are not worthy. The hottest one-woman band around! Yeah, okay. Izzy waves me off, but she's grinning now too. It's a nice dream, I guess. Why does it have to be a dream? Well, I can't actually play all the instruments myself. What? I deadpan.
Oh, here we go.
Do you mean to tell me you don't have 6 extra arms ready to go? I don't know if I'd need 6, she says almost thoughtfully. Could go for a simpler sound. Guitar, vocals, and drums at least. That's not too bad. All you need is a drummer. I nudge her with my elbow, hoping she'll look my way again so I can drown in her big brown eyes. And she does, wide and full of mischief. Her gaze catches mine, and she says, no, I don't. Already have one. 4.
That was nice. That was a nice little way ahead of you moment, and already establishing transitioning from one band, from Izzy leaving the other one, the reasons for it, which makes sense. Like usually in bands and stuff through the years, most of the time with when bands break up and stuff, as long as it's nothing like drug substances related type of things, it would be like creative differences. Like maybe they want to try doing stuff on their own or whatnot and things like that. So that makes sense. Uh, Obviously, in this case, those conflicting differences were not very mutual, and it doesn't. It wasn't like a smooth uh, transition out of the band. Clearly, because Izzy wouldn't be crying and being as upset as she was if it was, you know, like a cordial discussion and stuff about it, and you know, potentially agreeing mutually to part ways or whatnot if it came to that. But at least we got a establishing Steph and Izzy's band and seeing how that goes from there. On top of on top of, getting closer and potentially forming their relationship that they have to have and end by the end of this story, because by the beginning of Wavelengths and the main game of True Colors, that relationship has already been done. So at least in this case, we'll see the evolution of the whole relationship pretty much from beginning to end. So interesting how this is like playing out and slowly building itself up more and more.
Dad's garage is a lawless land, a graveyard for hobbies gone sour. There's a shelf full of action figures he started and stopped, collecting the year I went to college, and an old motorcycle he's definitely never ridden. I nearly trip over a literal bow and arrow on my way to the drum kit in the corner. I swipe my finger through a thick layer of dust on the cymbals.
Also, it is really it's nice in this story, and well, as far as Steph's thing goes in general, that at least instead of the dad being the one that's always like dead or something, or being uh like shit and absent for the whole thing, at least in this, Steph still has her dad around, and at least her dad has some stuff going on, and he's not like dead in William's case, or an asshole in what was it, James Amber's case, or also dead in what was it, Sean and Daniel's dad's case, and um walked out on them, and then finding out he was dead for a very long time, like in Alex's case, Alex and Gabe's dad's case. So so at the very least, at least the dad is kind of around here and a little bit more positive than extremely depressing. Just saying. So a nice little reversal of the trend that the franchise has had so far.
Dad gave me this drum set for my 14th birthday. I can count on one hand the number of times I've practiced since then. Such a noisy hobby. The last time I sat behind this drum set, I was in Arcadia Bay, in a house that isn't there anymore. Mom told me to keep it down, and I was only too happy to oblige. The gift was always more for Dad than for me, and he wasn't around to enjoy it. I plopped down on the seat and ghosted my drumstick across the snare, eliciting a soft hiss. I know that I know how to do this, but without Izzy's eager face urging me on, I feel small and insignificant behind this mountain of rhythm I'm meant to climb. I set the sticks down on the floor, Tom, and dig my phone from my pocket. There's only one person I trust to help me with this particular problem. Hey, little drummer girl. Pixie. Hey. Pixie's reply comes immediately, and I sigh in relief. I snap a picture of the drum set and send it to Pixie along with a caption.
Also, for anyone wondering, with Pixie, since she's a character from the comic books, she actually has a physical look to her. So she's actually she's actually an Arab character. So she does. So she's always wearing the I believe it's called a hijab, right? I think the headpiece that the women use to cover their head, and you only see like their face. Yeah, she's always wearing that. So it's a pretty because I don't believe they actually went into an entire description of Izzy before, but yeah, it's a visual. You could look her up on the on the on Google and stuff, and images from the comic books, and you could get an idea of what she looks like, because that's because since she's the main member of the High Seas that they're using here, mainly because she's the member of the High Seas that Steph interacts with pretty much the most, because she's mostly Pixie's friend and not really the other band member's friend. So hence why Pixie is the most actively used from the comic books in this one. In this.
SOS. Have you never heard of a dust rag? Step 1, cleaning. Got it. But for real, what do I do? I haven't played in ages. Okay. For a start, you should tune the toms and your snare. You have to tune drums? Steph, teach me. Tradesies? I want to learn to be a game master. You've got yourself a deal. I take Pixie's advice and clean the drum set first. It's grueling work, but when I finish, the drums are a shiny electric blue.
Well, she does. At least she's, and that's another thing that to keep Pixie around as far as the story goes right now, is at least they're not forcing the cameos in here. There's actual reason for them to be in here. It's not just fan service. Because if Steph is going to be in a band with Izzy and is going to play the drums, like obviously she has the drums and she knows something and plays something, but obviously she's never actually gone extremely like in a professional playing sense. So going with Pixie, who is also the drummer of the High Seas, the band that Pixie's a part of, it makes sense that she would obviously go to her and ask her to teach her in this advice. Because most people, if you're writing a story and you're putting like characters and put them and have cameos and stuff in other stories, sometimes it makes absolutely no sense as to why the hell they're even in the story. It just comes off as really forced. And that's outside the fact of your opinions of the character themselves. Whether you like the character making the cameo or not, at the very least make their inclusion make sense within the story that you're doing. At least in this case, Pixie has been uh, extremely well handled in how she's coming into the story in her what was it, 2 appearances so far during the D&D session that they were having, and then now here. And at least Steph doesn't have to pay for the lessons because they just traded, like, okay, you teach me the drums and I'll teach you how to be better in D&D. So that's pretty fun. Plus it keeps it within the characters of both of them. So it doesn't feel like it's something out of character that would make no sense. It's not like a Pixie would ask, like, I don't know, I want to learn how to how to skydive or something from you. And then it's like, wait, we have not established any of that with Steph's character before. So at least, you're keeping it to character traits that we've established and know of on a consistent basis. So it makes sense.
Hey, sweetie, find anything good? Dad pokes his head into the garage, wearing a beanie and holding a green juice. Thought I might take her out of retirement, I say.
Oh my god, her dad wears beanies. I guess that's the secret of why Steph wears beanies. Oh lord.
Clicking the hi-hat open and closed. I used to be in a band, you know. He descends the stairs and comes to stand in front of the drum kit, eyes a little glazed over behind his glasses. Two, actually. The kazoo keepers don't count. We were very popular at office parties, I'll have you know. Dad crosses his arms and pouts, the corners of his mouth still turned up a bit, just like mine. All the years we spent apart after the divorce.
It's really funny how, the divorce part isn't funny. Awkward pause. But it's funny how we're also keeping generally the fun tone that most of the dads in the Life is Strange franchise are. Particularly the only ones that come to mind are William, Chloe's dad, and Sean and Daniel's dad. Because both of them were pretty fun and positive, like, parents. So it's nice that Steph's dad falls into that side of the parenting scale, as opposed to, the asshole side with Rachel's dad and Alex and Gabe's dad. Hey, as you learn with this series, you have to take all the positives that you can get out of these stories, because most of the time you're just waiting for the other shoe to drop on some really dramatic and really sad shit to happen. So we have to enjoy all the positivity we're getting so far. Because we're still in the building up phase. So hopefully things don't get too dark and depressing. Because I don't have enough tissues back here for that. Okay?
And I'm still more like him inside and out than I ever was like Mom. Okay, well, outside the office parties. That's more like it. So, what's the plan here? Please tell me you're not going to sell it. Nah, had something a little more exciting in mind. With a snap of my wrist, I start a drum roll. The snare rattles and whines. Maybe I do have to tune these things. I've joined a band. That's great, sweetie. Your turn. I point to the glass in his hand, side stained green with spinach or kale. What's up with the health potion? Ah. He looks from the glass to me and back again. You know, antioxidants are... I shake my head. Forget I asked. Oh, come on, it's not that bad. You want to try one? Absolutely not. More for me. He takes a sip, and the twitch in his jaw says all too clearly he'd rather be drinking anything else. You sticking around for dinner? I've got a colleague coming over I want you to meet. Is this a job interview? I narrow my eyes and push off the stool. It wouldn't be the first time he's tried to lure me into something career-related. Brochures left casually on my bookshelf and near weekly job listing emails. Dad shakes his head. No, nothing like that. Sorry, Dad. I can't tonight. I tuck the drumsticks into my back pocket and make for the garage door. I've got band practice. Izzy lives a few minutes away from Save Point in a light blue one-story house with a worn fence and overgrown hedges.
Going to
She meets me on the porch stairs, barefoot and sporting a long-sleeved shirt made of sheer black lace over a tank top and big silver earrings in the shape of stars. She's holding a green notebook and an open can of root beer. Steph! She waves me forward, leading me toward the front door. What are you, a vampire waiting for an invitation? It takes me a second to follow, my body lagging behind my brain as I take in the space. Her space. The walls are hung with all kinds of art. A grayscale oil painting of a sunflower. An old-school Rosie the Riveter poster that says, "We can do it, we just don't want to." And abstract pink and blue blobs with the word gender cut out from what looks like a bunch of different magazines pasted upside down over the top. On the far side is a double-stacked bookshelf full of tomes with cracked, unreadable spines, bookended by a couple of glass whiskey bottles filled with swirling purple sparkles, like a grown-up snow globe. So this is my crib. Izzy poses with her hand on her hip. An over-wide smile plastered on her face like she's performing for a camera. Damn. I peer around the corner into the kitchen, where matching dishware is stacked in cabinets with glass doors. There's a breakfast nook in the corner with a little potted rosemary and 2 candlesticks in the window. This is totally cute. Izzy grimaces, eyes drifting to her phone. Sorry. My fingers worry the skin of my elbow. First time over and already I've found a way to accidentally insult her. Absolutely killing it. Cute probably isn't what you were going for, huh? What? Oh, no, cute is fine. It's a shared space, but my housemates have decent taste. She shrugs. Besides, I can think of plenty of worse adjectives. I raise my eyebrows. She has vocab. I contain multitudes. She lifts her phone and the sour expression returns. Astrid just texted. She and the others are coming by to pick up their stuff later this afternoon. If we want to get any practice in before they whisk the drums away, we should do it now. I nod and follow her through the kitchen and out a side door into the garage. Immediately, I can feel the izziness here. Power cords make a maze of the ground, leading from the wall to amps, speakers, and other electronics I don't know the names for. A dark red drum kit is nestled in the corner next to a large gold divider. It's pushed back to reveal the other half of the room. A queen-size bed against the wall with a purple bedspread and pillows that don't quite match. A desk littered with notebooks and gum wrappers folded into neat chains, and a large oak dresser with brass handles. Izzy hurries to roll the divider back out. Sorry, it's kind of a mess. Even if it was, I wouldn't mind. But it's clear Izzy does. She's already picking up stray clutter, a water bottle, a guitar pick, a sports bra. I want to tell her to leave it. I like her mess. I want to see any part of her she'll show me. Instead, I climb behind the drum set and test the tension of the snare. Bouncy, I say, my drumstick ricocheting off the drum with a satisfying thump. Way better than mine. I have to get it fixed up. Bring it over. Once these are gone, we can tune yours. It'll be easier to have them here for practice anyway. My heart jumps a little in my chest. We've only played together once and already Izzy's planning to do it again? Good. I'm glad she hasn't changed her mind. I adjust my grip on my sticks, determined to earn the faith she's placed in me. There's a loud crackle as Izzy plugs her guitar into the amp, followed by a melodious chord. She plays a couple more, testing each string and wiggling the tuning pins a bit, before hitting the strings with the flat of her hand and looking back to me, brown eyes smiling. Okay, let's rock. And we do, sort of. Izzy is even more magnetic with an electric guitar at full volume. Sunshine filters in through the garage door, bathing her in dappled light as she sings, and I'm mesmerized. It shows in my playing for sure. I miss the hi-hat entirely a few times, and my right foot pedals the kick drum shakily. Still, it's the most fun I've had in a long time. And when the song ends, I can't wait to play it again. Okay, Izzy says after the last chord has faded. That's a start. I'm just stoked you said start and not end. I let out a nervous laugh and wipe a trickle of sweat already beating at my hairline. I'm super out of practice. Anxiety rockets through me and my other foot jiggles, rattling the hi-hat. Izzy slides her guitar onto its stand before closing the distance between us. With me sitting behind the drums, she towers over me, impressive, intimidating, intimate. Her gaze is steady, unlike my drumming, but as she catches my eye, I feel the energy inside me quiet. Her fingers close around the hi-hat, and she silences the cymbals with a pinch. Slow down, Roadrunner. It's a marathon, not a sprint, she says, leaning in. Her eyes sparkle with reflections of the twinkle lights hung up around the garage. Every cell in my body screams that I should touch her. I could just reach out. Lace our fingers together, run my thumb across her knuckles atop the hi-hat. There's a loud rumble as the garage door lurches to life, and I tip back, spilling off my stool onto the hard cement. Oh, hey, Izzy's voice goes small and quiet. Hey yourself, a voice I recognize. The singer from Vinyl Resting Place, Astrid. When I recover, clambering over the knocked-over stool, I'm met by an army of scowls. 3 girls stand at the lip of the garage. A blonde, a brunette, and a redhead walk into band practice. I don't know the rest of the joke, but the setup sure slaps. You look good, Astrid, the redhead, says to Izzy. Better than you sound, at least. A chuckle in 3-part harmony echoes through the garage, and I realize it's me. I'm the punchline. Izzy doesn't join in. Steph, do you mind running to the kitchen to grab some sodas? Her eyes meet mine, imploringly. I don't want to leave her with the mean girls. I fight the urge to stand my ground. Instead, I round my shoulders and bob my head. Sure thing, I say, and head for the door, not because I want to escape, but because she asked me to. The second I close the garage door, their voices become unintelligible. For all I know, they could be performing Shakespeare or reciting the digits of pi or shitting on my drumming. It doesn't really matter anyway. It's not their opinions I care about. I trace my steps back to the kitchen to grab sodas from the fridge. There's a box of root beer on the bottom shelf with a sticky note that says, Izzy, in Sharpie. The whole fridge is organized that way, with stacks of Tupperware labeled Mariana, a carton of lactose-free milk labeled Bruce, and a bowl with some kind of quinoa-based salad labeled Free to Good Home Turns Out I Hate Quinoa, Saturn. Hi. A voice startles the root beers out of my hands. They tumble to the ground, bouncing and rolling across the hardwood. Hi, I say, looking up to see the owner of the voice is a short, rainbow-haired white person with dangly earrings spelling out they and them, who, if I had to guess based on vibe alone, is probably Saturn. Hi, says probably Saturn again. I'm tempted to say hi one more time just to complete the greeting do-si-do we found ourselves in, but instead, I tuck my hair behind my ear and give a little wave. Izzy asked me to grab sodas. I swear I'm not just some random girl raiding your fridge. Oh, their face relaxes immediately. You're Steph. Guilty as charged. Saturn, Izzy's told us all about you. Good things, I hope. Saturn's lip curve into a grin. Oh, very good things. They bend to pick up a couple of cans that have rolled to a stop at their feet and set them on the counter. Might as well grab new ones. These will probably explode. They cross over to the fridge, grabbing 2 for me and 1 for themselves. Thanks. I motion to the fridge, balancing the cans in one hand. Can you pass me 3 more? Saturn's eyebrows shoot up. Thirsty? My cheeks flame and I shake my head. Astrid and the others are here to pick up their stuff. Oh shit. Saturn's gaze bounces over to the garage door and back. Give them the time bombs. They deserve it. They grab one of the cans from the counter and shake it more for good measure. I grin, emboldened by Saturn's clearly correct opinion. Yeah, they kind of suck, huh? Honestly, I'd never say it to Izzy's face, but we're all pretty stoked to see the last of them. Their music is great, but their personalities? Saturn makes a retching noise. I thought they were annoying before Izzy and Astrid broke up, but the past few months have been hell. Oh, I say. Because what else is there to say? I guess intra-band dating can get messy. Sure. But this was definitely not your run-of-the-mill drama. Astrid is mean and she's not quiet about it. Girl likes to yell and not in a fun way. Saturn plops into a chair at the breakfast nook and opens their root beer with a crackle. I think Bruce was almost ready to tell them they had to practice somewhere else. He doesn't like to pull landlord on us. Such a weird dynamic since we all suffered through college together. But now he's got this fancy tech job and makes more money than God, but it's his house. My eyes travel back to the garage door, and I swallow with difficulty. Maybe I should get back in there. Here. Saturn pushes the jostled root beer cans into my arms. Go armed. I only catch the tail end of the Astrid show.
A little funny note that if you get the physical book, as you're reading, besides the little drumsticks at the beginning of the chapters, you also have, anytime they have chats or something going on, they always have it physically done as text messages and stuff, in the book as you're actually reading it. So it's so they really try to keep it as pretty immersive and stuff, even within the book itself. So that's pretty cool. There you go.
They made quick work of taking the drum set apart and loading the amps into Astrid's car, so by the time I return, everything's pretty much done. Well, see you around, Izzy, Astrid says, twirling her keys around her finger. Good luck with, She gestures vaguely at the empty space left behind. Her eyes flit to me once more before she piles into the car with her bandmates and speeds away. Izzy looks deflated. Her shoulders concave, eyes hollow. You okay? I ask, nudging her with my elbow. My hands are still laden with root beer cans, otherwise I might be braver than I have reason to be and hold her hand. Izzy straightens up and clears her throat. Guess that puts an end to today. Says who? Izzy turns a bemused expression on me and says, I don't know about you, but without a drum set, what's the point? Well, for starters, drumming isn't the only thing I can do. I nod toward the open garage. The sun is still in the sky. It's maybe 4 in the afternoon. And we've got a lot of hours left in the day. Pity to waste them. I'm listening, Izzy says. What do you have in mind? How do you feel about pizza and nerds? The people or the candy? Izzy takes a can of root beer from my arms. Never mind. I love both. She pulls the metal tab before I can stop her, and brown fizzy soda shoots up in a geyser directly into her face. Yeah, I meant to warn you. Izzy wipes her sleeve across her face and blinks rapidly. I sure would.
That's why you don't, that's another reason why I don't like, using, cans of soda. but you're not supposed to do that with soda in general. Is always make sure it hasn't the soda hasn't been shook in any way before you try to open it. Uh, just like with Izzy, it never works out well for anybody.
Wish you had. Shit. Let me change first, okay? Don't want to be all gross. Yep. Take your time, I say. But they're not the words inside me, thundering against my ribs. I want to tell her she could never be gross. I want to tell her she's beautiful, even when she's covered in sticky carbonated sugar water. I want to tell her to never change because I like her the way she is. A shocked Jordy meets us at the door, a full 2 hours early for Critical Role night. It's our weekly nerd night where we crowd around Jordy's TV, since he has the biggest one, and
even blatant, well, a more direct, actual, blatant reference to the D&D team, Critical Role, which you know, if you watch on Amazon the Legend of Vox Machina show that they're all in, based on their D&D campaigns that they've played together, and also if you remember, Critical Role, their comic books of Vox Machina also had cameos in the Wavelengths DLC on the bookshelf in the record store. So, and in the main True Colors game, you can also see them in the record store too throughout the game. Also, when you're in there, so nice little thing there. Also, shout out to Critical Role, such amazing actors and everything, a part of that whole team. So if you haven't checked them out, definitely check them out. Really fun group of people.
watch the live stream. Jordy always makes geeky snacks, and we play a custom sort of bingo with silly in-jokes and the names of spells in each square. We bring an offering, I proclaim as I charge into his apartment, dual-wielding bags of barbecue potato chips. Damn right you do. Jordy tilts his head curiously as Izzy follows me inside. Don't mind me, had an exploding soda can situation. Izzy gestures to her wet hair. Hope it's okay that I'm crashing the party. Steph said you do this every week. Jordy and I face each other, finger guns at the ready, and say the show's tagline in unison. Is it Thursday yet? I'll take that as a yes. We only play once a week, so we have to get our fix somehow, am I right? Jordy leads us into the kitchen, where he pops open the chips and begins pouring them into large metal bowls. You really should play with us sometime. My gaze snaps to Izzy, looking for a reaction, but she just reaches for a chip and shrugs evasively. Maybe she'd make a good rogue. Every Friday at the shop, invites open. I try not to want it too much, to bring Izzy into my world the way she's let me into hers. I know tabletop RPGs are cool, and I don't need her to think so too. But needing something isn't the same as wanting something.
Pro tip about, especially if you're going to try to have a successful relationship, like, obviously, if you're going into a relationship with someone, they don't have to be 100% also into, everything that you do. But at the very least, they should at the very least respect what you do and don't make you like feel a type of way about something that you like and something that you love to do or whatnot, because that's not a good sign of a healthy relationship if if your significant other is really against things that you like and bring you joy, and tries to make you feel bad about it just because they themselves don't like it. So, pro tip for a healthy relationship: even if you don't like something that your significant other does, at least respect that they do, and don't make a big deal and an issue out of it. You know, as long as it's something that's not extremely horrible and out of the park, that's obviously really wrong. So, like in this case, if Izzy doesn't like D&D, that's fine, but at least respect the fact that like Steph would like it. So, at least have a respectful relationship there if that's you know, go down that route.
Izzy gives me a thin smile. Wish I could, but I've got something else on Fridays. I steel myself for the disappointment that comes with a brush off like that, and try on a smile like an ill-fitting pair of jeans. Oh, of course, Jordy smacks his forehead. You've got Shabbat, I forgot. Yeah, it's the one time I video call my parents every week, so I can't really skip it. Sort of an every Friday at sundown kind of thing. And why would you want to? Jordy turns to me, gesticulating enthusiastically as he explains. I got the invite a couple times when we were still in college. You would not believe the challah Izzy's dad bakes. I still dream about the fluffy texture sometimes. It's like a cloud made of carbs. Okay, first of all, extremely rude of you to describe delicious bread without having any to offer me. I give Jordy a look of betrayal. And second of all, the beauty of tabletop RPGs is you can play them on any day ending in Y. If you want to give it a go, we can play a short one-shot now before the show. Oh, yes, please. I'll text Ollie. I bet he'd join in. Jordy snatches his phone from the counter, fingers flying across the screen. I glance at Izzy. What do you say? Izzy nods. Yeah, okay. Why not? I set her up with a character sheet at the coffee table in the living room and immediately see the overwhelm in her eyes. Oh no, I'm having math homework flashbacks. Why is this so complicated? Steph, bless your heart, no! Ollie exclaims from the entryway, where he's just arrived, carrying an entire watermelon. You're going to scare her off. He hands the watermelon unceremoniously to Jordy and crosses over to sit next to Izzy. Okay, we're going to do this right. What's your star sign, favorite color, and your most played hype song? Also, hi, I'm Ollie. I'll be your cruise director this evening. Capricorn, Purple, Ever Fallen in Love by Buzzcocks, and I'm Izzy. Along for the ride, I guess. Ollie looks Izzy up and down, eyes narrowed in concentration. Okay, definitely a spellcaster then. Warlock, I say confidently. Really? I figured Bard, says Jordy. Oh, come on, Izzy's way too badass for Bard. Plus, isn't purple like the warlock color? Yeah, but she slays on guitar. You two, kitchen. Ollie points forcefully at the door. Izzy can make her own decision without your commentary. Jordy and I grumble as we get to our feet, but once we're safely in the kitchen, Jordy says, $20 says she picks Bard. You're on. We're both wrong. After much consideration, Izzy decides to be a cleric. There's no reason a healer can't be cool, she says with a shrug. Can I buy a shield in the shape of a skull or something? You can have a shield in whatever shape you want. I settle at the head of the coffee table and do what I do best. Improvise. You leave the temple in the dead of night. No one wakes to herald your departure. It's only you and your faith, a flickering warmth at your chest like a purring kitten held close. You take one look back at the place you've called home all this time, before taking your first step on the path to adventure. I offer Izzy a set of dice. She takes them and her lips curve into a nervous smile. Maybe if the dice roll in my favor. there will be room for me to come along on her adventure.
Ever wanted to stay on vacation longer? Us too. With Verbo's long stay discounts, you can stay longer and save more on select
practice
properties.
all weekend
Gotta
with
love a
Pixie.
win-win. Book
She
the
runs me
perfect
wild.
summer getaway today with Verbo Private Vacation Rentals. Your future self will thank you later.
Here is the story of Dragon Age you need to know before the Veil Guard.
Oh, okay. That is... Go. There we go. Oh. There we go. There we go. Okay, now we're back on track. There we go. It was just reading, checking out a little bit of a... Yeah, was just checking up because she said something about a little character point for Izzy, and I was just looking up what that was, just double checking that just to look it up. So just for clarification of that, that Izzy is Jewish, so you know, just wanted to double check that to make sure. So.
Don't permanently damage your hearing. Love, Dad. Once I start, I can't seem to stop. The rhythm lives in my bones even when I'm not behind the drums. At work, I drum on the counters with plastic forks, practicing along with whatever music's playing. And when I walk home at the end of the day, I move to an imaginary beat, thriving on the applause of
Wait.
5.
What happened here? Hold on. Oh, that's what happened. There we go. There we go.
I practice all weekend with Pixie.
There we go.
She runs me ragged doing drills over and over again, teaching me the names of different rhythms my body remembers better than my brain. It isn't exactly like riding a bike, but the longer I practice, the more muscle memory from teenhood returns. When Pixie goes home, I let the metronome be my teacher, drumming to its incessant steady ticking late into the night. The next morning, there's a pair of noise-canceling headphones sitting on the snare with a sticky note pasted to the outside of the box. Don't permanently damage your hearing. Love, Dad. Once I start, I can't seem to stop. The rhythm lives in my bones even when I'm not behind the drums. At work, I drum on the counters with plastic forks, practicing along with whatever music's playing. And when I walk home at the end of the day, I move to an imaginary beat, thriving on the applause of an imaginary crowd. Izzy gives me homework. She sends me playlists of artists I need to know, and playlists of songs she thinks we should cover, and playlists of songs that remind her of me. I listen to them all. But that last one is on repeat in my head, even in silence. I try to dissect the meaning behind her choices. Does Girls Like Girls by Hayley Kiyoko remind her of me because I'm a lesbian, or because she's a girl who likes me, also a girl?
Funny part about that, bringing up that specific Hayley Kiyoko song, that was one of the songs that you could play in the record store during Steph's Wavelengths DLC during the summer section when during the Pride Month stuff. That was one of the vinyls you could pick to play a record of. So nice little reference to one of the specific songs that the franchise used. So that's fun.
After running through the songs for the umpteenth time at work, Jordy tells me I have to play something else or he's going on strike. I love to stim to a song on repeat as much as the next person, but this is getting ridiculous, he says. It's okay, babe. I'll make you a playlist too. Ollie presses his forehead to Jordy's, and they both crack a grin. Oh, come on, I protest. Just because you two found each other doesn't mean the rest of us aren't allowed to have a moment of gay panic. But as Jordy and Ollie are quick to point out, it isn't just a momentary fixation. I spend my days waiting to spend my evenings with Izzy. I live for the hours spent in her garage learning about music theory and structure, puzzling through lyrics together, flat on our backs with a notepad between us. That's where we are when she says it. We need a name. I roll onto my side, face squishing into my arm. What, you mean Izzy and Steph's family good time band isn't good enough? She hits my knee with hers playfully. Very funny, but I think we might get sued by the creators of Arrested Development. What, scared of a little lawsuit action? We need something that says queer punk band. And I'm guessing queer punk band is off the table? Steph, Izzy groans, but she's smiling. I narrow my eyes in thought, trying not to stare at her lips or think about how soft they look. Instead, I throw myself into brainstorm mode.
It's funny how some of Steph's dialogue goes into almost like she's trying to set up an almost an erotic novel in a sense. I guess when you have it bad, you have it bad, I guess.
Slam punk. Punky Cole Medina. On Wednesdays, we wear punk. Izzy groans. Okay, puns are not allowed. Punk intended? Izzy throws a pillow at me. Okay, maybe if I understood the punk vibe a little better, that would help, I say. Don't get me wrong, I love the music, but I'm pretty new to the scene. Izzy hoists herself up partway so she's leaning back on her elbows. Long dark hair cascading down her back. It's just that punk is so much more than a vibe, you know? I follow her lead, sitting up and crossing my legs. Tell me, I say. I've spent days listening to every punk band she recommends. I know what the genre sounds like, I know the rhythms and foundations of the music, but none of that matters compared with what it means to Izzy. Punk isn't just a sound, it's an attitude, a lived experience. It's about being pushed around and oppressed, and rising up anyway. It's about being on the outside, about seeing injustice and doing something about it. It's about being angry and frightened and shouting to be heard anyway. I can't look away from this girl who feels like an epiphany. Izzy's eyes are glassy as she speaks. I want to reach out to her, a grounding touch to let her know I'm here, that I'm listening. My hand inches toward hers.
That was pretty much a pretty apt description of the, punk scene, especially like the classic way. So touche on that one.
It would be so easy to slot my fingers between hers and lace them together. All I have to do is be brave. I chicken out at the last minute, instead bumping my pinky against hers. Plus the black nail polish. Izzy looks down at our hands, so close together. And for a breathless moment, I think she's about to show me up, courage-wise. Her fingers curl toward mine, just slightly. But then she nods and pushes up to her feet. Yeah, we really need to get your look sorted out. What? You don't like the beanie? I stand too. Izzy steps closer, and closer, and even closer, snaking her hand behind my head. The moment catches and snags, and I think if something doesn't happen soon, I'm going to pass out. I love the beanie, she says, then tugs it from my head. But maybe not for gigs. Gigs? I raise my eyebrows. Yeah, you If you want to, I talked to some people I know who own a venue. It's not as big as Bar None, but, you know, we can start small, work our way up. Small or not, I'm absolutely gonna need a new look for when we play. Yeah? She catches my eye and holds it. Yeah. I lead her past the room divider into the bedroom half of the garage and toward the dresser. Make me over, Izzy Margolis. Izzy has a lot of clothes.
Especially Steph's whole extreme awkwardness with somebody she's really into is definitely playing off the vibe that Chloe had with Rachel in Before the Storm. Except the main difference here is with Chloe and Rachel, it was the whole old school really falling for like the popular girl in school type of thing. Like the really high, like almost unobtainable really popular girl in school. And obviously for Rachel, it was like the stereotypical like falling for like the bad kid, like the like almost the really popular girl always going for like the bad boy in school or something like that. So except in this case, it's not that, but the awkwardness for Steph is definitely reminiscent of Chloe's like nervousness and awkwardness in the beginning with episode 1 with Rachel. So that's kind of funny. It's like the shoe is on the other foot this time.
Way more than me, though that's not a very high bar, as I've been living out of my suitcase since graduation. It's nice not to have too many choices, but the high rate of laundry is less than ideal. I run my fingers along the fabrics, stalling on a leather skirt. I hold it up to my body and show Izzy. What do you think? Oh, definitely not. What? Don't think I'd look good in a mini? I strike a model pose. You'd look good in anything. She snatches the skirt from me, fingers brushing mine. She stills at the contact for a beat, eyes skating over my body. And do I detect a little wistful note in her tone? I let the hope blossom in my chest, and probably in my cheeks too. It's just that you'll be behind the drum set with your legs. What about my legs? I take a step closer, unable to keep the smile off my face. They're good legs, I'm sure. I mean, I would assume. Izzy turns her back to me and rifles through a few drawers in the dresser. It's just you might flash the audience.
Smooth.
Okay, yeah, let's not expose ourselves on stage. Good call. So, got any leather pants? Izzy laughs at that. What's with you and leather?
Smooth.
I don't know. Feels punky. There are definitely some vegan punks who would disagree.
Uh-oh.
Izzy eyes me carefully, her gaze practically leaving scorch marks along my skin in its wake. Besides, we don't want you to look like you're wearing a costume. It should feel natural, like an extension of your style, not an erasure.
That is 100% really good advice. Even when it comes to clothes. Genuinely do not wear... You don't want to wear stuff that you do not feel comfortable with and that you don't feel confident really in wearing, or just wear something just because it's cool and everybody else does. Like if you're gonna wear stuff, wear it because you like it, and you generally love to show what you're wearing. Don't just do it because other people are, or it's supposed to be like the cool hip thing to do.
Okay, so what would you suggest? Izzy dresses me in ripped black jeans, a graphic tank, and a flannel tied around my waist. As a finishing touch, she fastens a couple of leather, or maybe pleather, bracelets around my wrist. Her fingers whisper over my pulse point,
Yet again, we have to have the flannel. The flannel shows up again. If it wasn't Rachel with the blue flannel and the red flannel, and then Max wearing Rachel's red flannel, and I believe True Colors, I think Alex had a flannel option, a flannel shirt option as one of her clothing things you could use. So even in this, the flannel strikes again. That seems to be a very common Life is Strange clothing choice is flannel, apparently. Besides beanies, apparently.
lingering. What do you think? Izzy asks, turning me around to face a standing mirror in the corner. I like it, I say. Her hands drift to my hips, and I try and fail to stop myself from leaning into her touch. Comfy. Feels like me. Good. That's the whole point of punk, really. Being yourself in the face of compulsory conformity. I grin at our reflections. Izzy's wearing red and black plaid pants with gold zippers and a black long-sleeve boat neck top that hugs her body. A tattoo snakes up over her exposed collarbone. Something viney. I wonder if it hurt like mine did. Ollie had to hold my hand the whole time. But by the end, I had a black line swallow over my chest.
Yeah, that was can you? No, it doesn't show on the cover. But yeah, if you remember in True Colors and stuff, when I think even in the Wavelength DLC during I think like the summer section or whatnot, you could actually see the tattoo that Steph has over here that she's talking about, the bird tattoo. So
I got it in college after I decided I would never go home to Arcadia Bay again. The wings of the swallow carrying me wherever I needed to go. They've carried me here to Izzy's garage. Maybe they'll carry me further. We look cool together, huh? I ask. Like a real girl band. Yeah. Something flicks across her gaze. Unreadable and cloudy, and her eyes drift away from mine. I feel the moment slipping away, just like her touch, and I cling to it for dear life. What about, like, eyeliner and stuff? I ask. You want? She gestures to her own meticulous cat eyeliner. I shrug. I've never really done much with makeup before, but it would be neat to try. You can... I swallow. You can maybe put it on me so I don't fuck it up? Izzy motions for me to sit, then pulls a basket of cosmetics from the top drawer and places it between us on the floor. The thought of Izzy's hands on my face sends a shiver up my spine. And then her hands really are on my face. I freeze, afraid to so much as breathe the wrong way in case she stops. She rests the side of her pinky on my cheekbone as she swipes a brush across my face. My eyes flutter closed, and I lean into the touch. I don't even care about the makeup. If we could stay like this forever, I would give up life's essentials like oxygen and coffee. What color do you want? Izzy's question is a feathered light breeze across my nose. She's so close. My heart hammers in my chest, a beat far steadier than my drumming. But I open my eyes and follow her gaze to the basket full of colorful eyeshadow palettes.
Funny part about the whole little makeup part that she's having done here is a fun little reference to the first episode of Before the Storm. If you attacked the guys at the Old Mill concert and then got punched in the face with Chloe's black eye and everything, for when you're about to leave to ditch school with Rachel, and Rachel asks you if you want to cover the black eye with some makeup. That's what this is like, almost like a parallel to. Like, obviously the contexts are different, but the whole thing of, you know, the love interest putting makeup on the one that's crushing over them is pretty evidently similar between the two here. So that's kind of funny. And that's if you went that direction in Before the Storm, then you'd catch that little parallel. So it's kind of funny that that Rosie put in that little reference to one of the possible determinate choices that the player could make in Before the Storm, and then it gets a nice little reference, metaphorical reference here. It's pretty cool.
I swallow and do my best to sound normal, like I haven't been thinking about anything but eyeshadow. Oh, so many to choose from. I reach for the basket, sifting through the different options. You've really got a whole rainbow here, huh? What is this, Target during June? Izzy rewards me with a laugh, a little guffaw that feeds my soul. I don't need more than a few seconds to choose. I know what color I want. It's the same as the liner she wore the first time I met her, when she came into Save Point looking like a storm. Purple.
A storm.
I hold up the palette, a small plastic one with half a price tag still clinging to the back. Izzy's expression falters. Her cheeks go slack, and her eyes drift to the palette in my hand. No,
A storm is certainly
she says
one way of
quietly.
referencing that.
Not purple? I glance back at the basket, looking for another option. Is it not my color or something? No, purple is fine, just not that one. She plucks the palette for me and smooths the thumb over the price sticker, slowly, reverently. It's really old, she says weakly. She tears her eyes from it and places it on the nearby dresser before selecting a different purple. I want to ask, I want to know, what's so special about a cheap little drugstore eyeshadow palette? But the words drown in my throat as Izzy instructs me to close my eyes, and her hands return to my face. She swipes a thin brush over my eyelids, lingering on the corners. I wonder what she looks like when she's this focused. I wonder what she looks like when she's this focused on me. The cool shock of liquid eyeliner hits my skin, and I do my best to stay still as Izzy meticulously paints my skin. Finally, she says, "Open," and holds a hand mirror up for me to see. I look like an alternate reality version of myself, with sleek black and purple angles lining my eyes. On the left side, she's drawn a little black star outlined in silver halfway between my lash line and my eyebrow. I look totally punk concert ready. I cheat a glance at Izzy to find she's looking at me too.
Hey, any artists out there, It'd be a fun little challenge to see if some of the descriptions and stuff of some of these outfits and things from the novel here, if y'all can create a visual of that, that would be really fun to see. Actually, some of these visuals of some of these characters actually put to uh, some visuals would be fun.
Her eyes are dark. The little flecks of gold in the irises hypnotic. Like I'll be pulled in if I stare too long. And I do. I do. I do. There's a hitch in her breath as she inhales. And before my brain can catch up, before my silly little thoughts can stop me, I lean in and touch my lips to hers. Kissing Izzy Margolis isn't like fireworks or lightning. It's quiet and calm and warm, like falling into a soft pillow. And I am falling so fast and hard. My hand finds her knee and I press up toward her, eager to touch her anywhere, everywhere. I want to run my fingers through her hair, brush my knuckles down her spine, press my forehead to hers, and drown in the magnetic pull of her gaze. I never want this to end.
See, now it's actually getting into almost an erotic novel in a sense here.
Izzy pulls away and my mind catches up. I've made a terrible error in judgment. I've misread the situation and ruined whatever good thing we had. I can probably kiss being in a band goodbye, and I definitely can't kiss anything else. But then her eyes flutter open, and her hand falls to mine on her knee. She doesn't push it away. She doesn't push me away. She just repositions, reaching up to brush my hair behind my ear, and says, "Thanks." At the same time, I rush to say, "Sorry." We both laugh awkwardly, and I rock back, clipping my shoulder on the corner of the dresser. I shouldn't have I begin, but she cuts me off. "No, I wanted you to." "Oh, okay. Good. 'Cause I wanted to, too." She hesitates, giving a one-arm shrug. "Do you remember at the cafe when I asked you what kind of lesbian you were?" I nod. "Yeah?" And I said the kind that likes girls. "Right." She doesn't say anything else for a moment. Fingers picking at the corner of the price sticker on that little purple eyeshadow palette. "Well, I think for a moment she's about to tell me she's not a lesbian at all, that she was just kidding or experimenting, or the word lesbian is actually French for one of those very yummy pastries with the flaky bits and the custard filling. "I'm the kind that's trans," she says finally. Her eyes slide away from mine, down to the palette in her hands. She peels a strip of the sticker off, worrying the residue away with her fingernails. It's probably silly to keep it, but this was the first eyeshadow palette I ever bought. I was 12 and my dad needed to pick up a few things at the store. He asked me if I wanted anything, and I picked this. She slaps the palette against her open palm, the sound hard and dull. Drugstore makeup. It was $2.99. Dad didn't even blink. Just bought it for me. I know better than to interrupt. Not while Izzy is letting me in like this. It's raw. I can tell. Like she hasn't told this story a lot. It was the first time, you know? The first time someone accepted me for who I am. I didn't even use it. A laugh breaks from her throat, part joy, part heartache. But it showed me it was safe to tell him when I was ready. It showed me maybe it would be safe to tell others too. I hope it's okay that I'm telling you. Her eyes find mine again, bright and full of trust. I remember then, something my mother told me. The truth is like a prayer. When you're honest with someone, you're asking for their grace and their integrity. And when they're honest with you, that's what you owe them in return.
Very wise words from Steph's mom on that one. Very good words to live by too. This was also when this novel was announced. This was the part of the story that I was very interested in seeing how it plays out and how it develops, is not just because of like, okay, we're gonna have a lesbian relationship, because technically we've seen that with variations of that with Chloe and Rachel, Chloe and Max, Steph and Alex in True Colors. So that wasn't really the thing. Besides the fact that it's a whole story about Steph, which I really like Steph as a character anyway, so that was already something that was gonna sell me initially alone, is just that. But the added wrinkle that the main um the main thing about the story was her and Izzy's relationship, and more importantly with the knowledge of from True Colors that Izzy is a trans woman, was something that was like, okay, how does that relationship work type of deal, is something I was interested in seeing, of how Steph, well, hearing, not seeing in this case, but hearing was and reading was how Steph deals with that, because obviously, that could lead to certain issues and stuff you would have, besides the fact of the stereotypical um like gay relationship stuff, lesbian relationship stuff that could come about with depending on where you are and depending on who's around you and things like that. So that adds another layer of uh of complexity in that relationship that I was really interested in seeing on how that would be handled and tackled, and what situations and stuff may come from that. So now we can and I do like that since we're about to solidify that relationship being officially a thing, I do like how Izzy is being upfront with her from the get-go about being trans, and not leaving it as like a secret and stuff, and actually feeling that as that she's known Steph enough that she was confident enough that Steph would be receptive to that fact about herself. So that's really cool that you're upfront with it and laying your cards out on the table at the start of a relationship, so that way that doesn't potentially come back later of Steph finding out and then being like, oh, you lied to me type of thing, and that, like that, and then kind of forcing in stereotypical conflict and not being a little bit more realistic than being more, how can I just be dramatic and have a dramatic situation just because of that, and not make certain things feel more organic and natural.
I'd brushed her off back then. I wasn't much for prayer anyway. Mom never made me go to church. She said faith was a choice I could make for myself.
Exactly.
And I did. I decided it wasn't for me. But now, years after her death, knowing she died counting her rosary, I feel the weight of her words.
Pro tip too about religion. Do not force your beliefs and your religion on other people, because that is 100% true, that faith is something you need to choose for yourself, and not something that should be forced upon you. I think if you look into history, the Crusades is a very good example of what happens when you try to severely force religion on other people, and how badly that can go. So really don't do that. Because I have a lot of friends myself of different sexualities and religious beliefs, and we all get along just fine, regardless of their sexuality being different from mine or their religion being different from mine. So don't let stuff like that get in the way of being a good person and being respectful to other people. Because you shouldn't let that be a determining factor of being friends or being in a relationship with someone. Because I've had family members and stuff that get really deep into religion, which is fine for them. But then it gets to the point where they were trying to push it heavily on me, to the point of like really being uncomfortable and things like that. So I know firsthand how it is to be on the receiving end of somebody who's really into their religion and tries to force that onto other people. So, not saying they're a good or bad person because of it, but it's definitely something that you shouldn't really be doing. Like even within certain religions themselves, most of them that I've researched and read are really all about, like, yeah, you're preaching the religion, but it's more so for people to learn about it and determine for themselves, do they want to follow it and stuff on their own. Not really about forcing it onto them. Yes, exactly. But yeah, so that's so uh I don't think we were expecting for the book to go. Yes, exactly, Napoleon. That's exactly what I mean. Like even as far as Christianity goes, even Jesus's whole thing was was to teach people and not force his ways onto others. Like, he wasn't forcing his followers to, like, follow him. He was just preaching his beliefs, and then, you know, people chose to follow it. It's not... But, you know, that goes on a whole nother thing about going very deep into religious philosophies and religious interpretations, and how various people interpret religions of different things, and most of the time really don't understand the meaning of what the religion and stuff actually teaches, and goes off on a whole nother thing and causes so many other problems. But was not expecting not expecting this novel to really spark this you know, conversation and stuff like this, but you know, those are the happy little things that happen sometimes when you go into some of these things. You never know where certain subjects will be brought up at. So good talk on that one.
Like she's standing just behind me, reminding me how important it is to catch Izzy in her vulnerability and hold her close. Drugstore makeup, I say slowly. Has a nice ring to it. Huh? Izzy's brows meet in a question. It means something to you. Something really special and personal. But it's also punk. You deciding to be brave with your dad, deciding to be yourself openly, and it's part of our story now too. I reach out to hold the palette with her, quieting her fingers as they try to rub the plastic clean. What do you think? Band name? You like it? You don't care about me being trans? Do I care? I ask, incredulous, but the word feels different on my tongue. Like it means more than I thought on the surface. Of course I care, I say quietly. I care because it's part of you, because it's your history. I care because I care about you. You do. It isn't a question. But then she blinks, and her voice goes quiet. Like, in what way? That depends. A sly smile sneaks onto my lips. On what? Are you still the kind of lesbian who likes girls? A little laugh escapes her lips. Definitely. I can't wait to kiss her again. So I don't.
Now you gotta wait for the moment
Summer.
to be right.
6. As the blustering spring makes way for sunshine and blooming flowers, it feels like the world around me is smiling, just like me. I play nothing but love songs at work in the weeks following our first kiss. Jordy has threatened to fight me in a Denny's parking lot multiple times. But no amount of physical or emotional warfare can dampen my mood. Because I have a girlfriend. Izzy isn't my first. I dated in college. Not a lot, but enough. And even though I spent most of high school totally crushing on the beautiful but unavailable Rachel Amber, I definitely kissed my share of classmates back home in Arcadia Bay. But this just doesn't really compare to any of those experiences.
Okay, little rule of thumb with people. Who do you think Steph was macking on in Arcadia Bay? Obviously it wasn't Rachel, because that's Chloe's department. And it wasn't Chloe, even though I could totally see both of them being a thing if Rachel was not in the picture. So who do you think Steph was macking on? There's several choices, so leave any opinions in chats, comments, whatever have you. I'm pretty sure you could probably come up with some interesting choices on which on who Steph might be referring to.
There's something about not being students, about being adults. But there's also something about Izzy. Something special. Maybe it's the way she's so herself all the time, or maybe it's the way she strums her guitar, or maybe it's the way she marches into Save Point on a Thursday afternoon and declares in no uncertain terms, "Steph Gingrich, I'm taking you on a date tonight." It makes me utterly useless for the rest of the day. Poor Ollie has to pick up the slack while I play a game of mental dress-up trying to decide what to wear.
Yeah,
Oh my God, you have to talk to someone else about it, Ollie says as we round the 3 o'clock rush. It's been years since I've thought this much about girl clothes. Hey, just 'cause I'm a girl. Are you really about to lecture me about the gender binary? He rolls his eyes, then tosses my phone to me from the back counter. Text Leah if you're gonna be like this. I stick my tongue out, but take his advice. Date night! Leah texts back immediately, like a true friend.
Oh, Lord.
Oh my God, what are you gonna wear? Thank you. Ollie was making fun of me for caring about that. Ollie will make fun of anything. True.
Yeah, Ollie is
Anyway,
a big
I don't know.
jokester here.
I feel like none of my clothes are really date material. You could always show up naked. Dude. What? I bet Izzy would like it.
Why in the world would you
I can
do that?
practically imagine Leah's eyebrow wiggle, exaggerated to the point of comedy. I think she'd make an amazing actress. What with the faces she pulls, not to mention her absolutely stunning features.
Going naked is a very bad idea. Whether Izzy would like that or not, I don't think going naked in public is a good way not to get arrested, by the way.
She has dark brown skin, long eyelashes, and cheekbones that could be considered a deadly weapon. But Leah was always more into the behind-the-scenes stuff like building sets. When we were in college, I used to spend hours in her dorm helping her sew or knit or bead costumes for the school's theater productions. Once, we were on such a tight deadline that we had to glue the seams closed instead of stitching them, and we forgot to open a window, so we ended up high as a kite, giggling incessantly at 4 a.m. over a moldy muffin we found under her bed.
Ew.
Leah was one of the first queer friends I met at DigiPin.
Somebody
Besides
needs to
Ollie.
clean their room.
She
a
walked
lot
into
more
History
if you
101
have
with a
moldy
bi
room.
flag pin on her jean jacket, and I knew immediately that we had to be friends. And to our credit, we stayed friends, even after making out once. In our defense, we were being forced to watch M. Night Shyamalan's The Last Airbender, and the agony was simply too great to endure.
I have no words. To be fair, Shyamalan's Last Airbender movie is excruciatingly horrible. Especially if you really love the Avatar Last Airbender cartoon. That movie is an abomination. So I would probably try to do something else to pass the time of that movie also. Not in her case making out with a friend of mine, but I'm sure if my friends were around, we'd find something else to do besides that.
Afterward, we agreed it was a necessary distraction, but would be a mistake to repeat, since Leah's poly and I'm more monogamous. Ever since, Leah's been my rock, my ride or die. It's only been a month since I met Izzy, but already I'm itching to introduce them.
That's a lot of multiple partners. Hopefully, if she is doing the polyamorous thing, hopefully she is being very cautious and clean and stuff about all of that. Because that's a lot to keep track of and making sure everyone is doing. everyone is doing their due diligence on making sure no one is getting any STDs from anyone else in that multiple partners business. So
You really need to meet her. She should come with us to Pride. I'll ask her on my date tonight. And I still don't know what to wear. Your least holy jeans and the green flannel makes your eyes pop. And no beanie. I'm gonna block you. You love me. I do, in fact, wear clothes on my date, but I feel naked without my beanie. It's too hot for it, as it turns out.
at least Steph gets over the beanie by at least in wavelengths and in true colors, because we do see her multiple times without the beanie and not really having a problem with it. So at least she builds up a tolerance for that eventually.
June is approaching fast, and even the Pacific Northwest is feeling the heat of summer sneaking its way into the air. Soon, Dad will have all the windows open in the evenings with fans in front of them because he refuses to get air conditioning. In true dad fashion, he insists on meeting Izzy, but at least he only manages one dad joke before we leave.
Oh, that's
Have her home by 11, he calls after us. Izzy gives me a quizzical look, and I turn to raise my eyebrows as far as they'll go in his direction. In the morning, of course. And he waves like a proud papa seeing his daughter off on prom night. Sorry I didn't get you a corsage, Izzy mutters through a laugh. It's okay. Maybe you'll still get lucky. I link our hands, smoothing my thumb along hers. He's cringe, but I get it. He wasn't there for shit like prom or anything, so he has to make up for it by being embarrassing now.
Hey, that's a Life is Strange dad staple. At least the good dads. You have to have at least some cringe moments, okay? Where do you think you get the cringe from? It inherently has to come from somewhere. Alright?
Ah, Izzy says, squeezing my hand. Child of divorce? Yep. They split when I was 11. Ugh. Izzy lets out a long exhale. That's rough. I just shrug. It's too hard to explain that my parents' divorce is hardly the worst thing that's ever happened to me. So instead I ask, what about you? Got any siblings or whatever? What is this? First date 20 questions? Next, I'll ask about where you went to college and if you're looking for a serious relationship. Izzy chuckles and squeezes my hand. No siblings. My parents are still together, but just as cringe. And as for the last one, oh my God, you don't have to answer. I was just kidding. Warmth sneaks into my cheeks, and I'm sure I look beet red. But I kind of want to know the answer anyway. With a shrug, Izzy bites her bottom lip and says, maybe if the right person came along. Then she turns to her van and opens the door for me. Milady, your chariot awaits. I climb up while she loops around the other side, and I slide my phone from my pocket to see a few texts from my friends. Leah, good luck, babe. Ollie, you got this. Jordy, we'll miss you for Critical Role night. I wince a little.
At least her friends are extremely supportive on this whole thing. So, kudos to them.
Forgot to let Jordy know I wasn't coming for our Thursday night hang. But I guess Ollie told him. I'm a little disappointed to miss it this week, but hopefully they'll understand. Another couple of texts come in, buoying my spirits. Jordy, but have fun. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Ollie, counterpoint, do literally everything Jordy wouldn't do. It's the vote of confidence I need to reach across the space and slap my fingers together with Izzy's as she starts the van and backs out into the street. Izzy drives with the windows down, inviting a breeze to tangle her hair. It feels like laughter, like the wind is happy for us. She holds my hand the whole way. I never want to let go. She finally does, though, just as we park outside a little bistro called Alberti's. It's not what I expect from Izzy. It feels so normal, so classic. I thought a date with a punk rock goddess might involve more dancing in a dark corner of a club, or looking at weird art, or protesting the man. I feel a flicker of disappointment that Izzy doesn't want to bring me into her world. But I shove it down. This is Izzy. And I'd even be happy to watch sports ball, as long as I was doing it with her. Wow, so you're whining and dining me? I say as we get out of the van. Only the best for my girl. Your girl? I mean to tease her, but the words come out soft. Izzy tucks her hair behind her ear and smiles up at me. Yeah, if you want to be. Oh, I want. And I pull her forward into the restaurant. We're seated in a cozy corner of the restaurant. It's dark, lit with orange sconces and little tea candles on the table. It's supposed to be romantic, I think. And hey, maybe it is romantic. My name is Randall, and I'll be your server this evening. If I might draw your attention to our specials. The waiter tells us something about a bisque, maybe, and I think some type of fish, but his words slide right over me. It's like Izzy's presence is too loud for me to hear anything else. She's wearing a jean jacket over a black strappy dress with a silver ring at the center of her breastbone. I just want to hook my finger in it and pull her close. It's like a beacon. Gondor calls for aid and Rohan shall answer. I inch my fingers toward hers on the table, my whole body thrumming with the overwhelming need to touch her, even just a little. The moment our index fingers touch, Izzy's demeanor changes. Something in her jaw twitches and her shoulders straighten before she draws back, placing her hand beneath the table. I'll be back with your waters in just a minute. The waiter smiles, but I barely notice. What were the specials again? I ask, scanning the menu, determined not to make a thing of whatever just happened. But when Izzy doesn't respond, doesn't even look at me, I make a thing of it anyway. Okay, what's going on? I whisper across the table. 1 second you're calling me your girl and the next you're pushing my hand away? Izzy just stares unblinkingly at the place where the waiter used to stand. Earth to Izzy. I snap my fingers. I know him, she says, so quietly that if I didn't see her lips move, I might not believe the words really came from her. From middle school. She blinks a couple of times. Randy Hooper. Okay. I don't think he recognized me. That's when my brain catches up, putting the pieces together.
Exactly.
He doesn't know about you being trans? She shakes her head. And if he's anything like he used to be, I don't want him to.
Uh-oh.
We can go somewhere else, you know. We absolutely do not have to stay here. I bump her knee with mine under the table for reassurance. She eyes me, rolling her lip between her teeth. It's okay, she says finally. I think I'd feel weirder if we just left, like he'd be chasing us out of here. Just like he used to chase people at recess. Are you sure? I ask. Every instinct in my body says we should get up and leave, just book it out of here before he notices. The way Izzy's body has gone rigid, the way her shoulders cave inward, it's not the Izzy I'm used to. I don't like seeing her like this. Afraid. Yes, I'm sure. She rolls her shoulders back again and picks up the menu. Just maybe don't hold my hand where he can see. I find her fingers beneath the table and don't let go until we've finished our food and Randy brings the bill. Let me get it, I say, reaching for my pocket. No, Izzy waves me off. I'm the one who asked you out. I bite my lip. It's always weird deciding who's going to pay when you're gay. For all the dates I've been on, we've always split the bill. It's safer that way, with no weird expectations or implications.
To be fair, when you go out, even with friends and stuff, it is pretty much a headache trying to split bills and stuff, especially if you're with a lot of people. So, I definitely know that feeling. Ugh.
I can tell it means something to Izzy, though. Like she thinks this is her one chance. I don't want him recognizing your last name on your credit card. I say as quietly as I can. You can get the next one, okay? There's gonna be a next one? She asks, eyes widening. I grin and slide my card into the slot. Of course there is. Thank you.
At least that
She
didn't
excels.
ruin things.
This isn't how I wanted it to go. It's our first real date and I should have, I don't know, picked somewhere better or more familiar or... I can't let her keep going on like that. So I lean in and touch her knee under the table. This is our date, together. I want you to be safe. If you're not having a good time, then neither am I. Oh, guess it wasn't a very fun date then. Her smile falters. I don't know. There's a lot of hours to go until 11 in the morning. There's still time to turn this around. I squeeze her hand under the table. What do you say you let me take the reins for a bit? What do you have in mind? A spark lights in her eye that wasn't there before, and my chest swells. I want to make her feel like this all night. Like she's special and worthy of a fun time without worry, without homophobia or transphobia. I want to hold her close and let our fingers bump in a shared popcorn bowl and kiss her again. Have you ever seen Blade Runner? I ask. Please, Izzy says flatly. Of course I have. Great. Then you won't mind when we don't actually watch it. When we leave the restaurant, Izzy puts her hand back in mine. And though there's an evening chill in the air, I don't feel cold at all.
All right. to be fair, this is nice that they also reference another callback to Blade Runner, since that's the movie that that Steph made a copy of for Chloe, that Chloe wanted in episode 1 of Before the Storm. So funny little callback with Steph bringing up Blade Runner. Most important question though, when you do Blade Runner, are you going to do which cut and version of the movie? Since there's like 5 different versions of Blade Runner, which version are you gonna go with? I'm assuming since Steph really liked the fact that Chloe wanted the director's cut in the first one, in the first episode of Before the Storm, I assume it would be the director's cut. But in any case, and again, anyone who hasn't watched Blade Runner, amazing movie. Probably one of the best movies that Harrison Ford is in, because the main character in Blade Runner is played by Harrison Ford, and I definitely prefer that. I definitely prefer that over his performance in that. I prefer more than something like his Star Wars stuff. No offense to Han Solo or anything like that as a character, but I do enjoy the more deeper physiological, like psychological and aspect of his performance in Blade Runner a lot more than any of the like the Star Wars stuff. Do enjoy mainly because both of them are like science fiction franchises, so hence my comparison with both of them. But do enjoy Harrison Ford and a lot of other things. Indiana Jones, goatness. Especially the original 3 movies. Goatness with Indiana Jones. But yeah. So we will do one this next chapter is a little short, so we'll do
7.
We'll do this one more chapter and then we will call it a stream. So let's get this last chapter for the day.
If pride is an explosion of rainbows, then pride with Izzy is the pot of gold at the end. It is a special kind of magic, watching her light up as we arrive at Volunteer Park. We are engulfed by expressions of queer joy. The word equality is spelled out in colorful balloons, and nearby the scent of soft pretzels fills the air. The sun is shining and there's even a disco ball at the entrance. But Izzy is still the brightest thing here. A smile bursts onto her face and her eyes twinkle as she takes it all in. You made it! Ollie and Jordy barrel toward us, bedecked in glitter paint. Ollie carries Jordy on his shoulders, and Jordy wears the black, gray, white, and purple striped asexual flag around his neck, like a cape. Their ensembles are nothing compared to Leah's intricate craftsmanship, though. She looks like a big gay maypole, strips of rainbow fabric twisted around her in overlapping patchwork, and strapped to her shoulders is a set of fairy wings, made from translucent organza, stretched in wire frame to look like stained glass. In her hair, worn naturally in springy black curls, she's twisted little pink, purple, and blue gemstones, like a bisexual flag crown. Leah, holy shit, I say, moving around to get a better look at her wings. The crafty bitch always shows us up, says Jordy with an eye roll. Yeah, I'm really putting that theater tech minor to good use, Leah mutters, reluctantly letting me get my grubby little hands all over her masterpiece. I wish I had half your skill with a bedazzler. I make my way around Leah's costume, eyeing what must be a few thousand tiny rhinestones along the wings. They catch the light and send rainbows skittering across the grass. I don't even own a rainbow tank top, let alone a sparkle factory. Oh, we can dress you up, Leah begins, plucking at my green t-shirt. Then she spots Izzy and goes still. Oh my God, Steph, is this her? For a second, I think maybe they know each other. It's not all that uncommon in the lesbian community to accidentally date a friend's ex. The only thing more likely, actually, is to purposefully date a friend's ex.
That must be amazingly awkward situations. If that's supposed to be a common occurrence. I wouldn't want to be in any of those situations, by the way. It's awkward enough without that.
I just have to hope their breakup wasn't explosive or messy or... She's stunning. Leah smacks me hard across the arm. You're stunning, she says directly to Izzy. Izzy may not be flashy like Leah, but she's still showing her pride. Little rainbow crystals hang from her ears, and she's painted her eyelids with little stripes of baby blue, pink, and white. It's elegant and subtle, and I love it. And I'm being so embarrassing. Wow, I'm Leah. It's really nice to meet you. Izzy takes her offered hand. And then Leah is grabbing mine too and jostling us forward. Come on, we need to rainbowify you. Oh, Leah, no, we don't have to. I start, but Leah raises her perfectly sculpted brows and fixes me with a capital L look. You're kidding, right? And deny me my greatest joy? She clucks her tongue like a disappointed mother hen. Nary a rainbow nor carabiner in sight. What are we gonna do with you? I mean, I start not wanting to be a bother, but Leah's eyes are already glittering with excitement. If Leah's offering her help, who am I to reject it? Yeah, okay. Leah marches us toward a blanket laid out on the grass and holds up a bag full of body paint. You'll look great with a little lesbian flag on your face. I think you'd look great with a little lesbian on your face, Izzy murmurs before planting a kiss on my cheek. We lie on the grass all afternoon, eating snow cones and listening to live music of varying quality. After a few hours, Jordy finally remembers to pass around the sunscreen. Ollie is already thoroughly burned, but we all lather it on anyway. Leah's partners, Rain and Wes, show up shortly after with a pack of bottled water and the largest collection of sour candy I've ever seen. We all squish together on the blanket to make room. I've been to Pride a bunch of times, and everyone is a little different. I've marched in the parades, I've listened to the charismatic speakers, I've looked at every vendor and informational booth. But my favorite thing about Pride is lazily sitting in the sun with my friends, just being queer and existing. I remember going to Portland Pride with my friends from Arcadia Bay, and how exhilarating it was to just be with other queer people. There weren't many of us in my hometown who were out and proud, but I was lucky to have a friend in Chloe Price. I haven't seen her in years. Not since I ran into her at a show for Pixie's band. But I hope she's well. I think she must be. I smile into the memory of my rival in love.
Nice, extremely good, it took a while for them to explicitly mention an update on Chloe, herself, huh? Especially, directly now referencing the fact that Chloe is friends with Pixie and the High Seas, the rest of Pixie's band. So nice little acknowledgement directly to the relationships that were created in the comic books. So A+ on that.
Back in our school days, we were both crushing on Rachel Amber. And who wasn't? She was gorgeous and funny and full of surprises. But in the end, neither of us really got the girl. In the end, the girl was a lot more complex than the love triangle we made for her. In the end, she didn't get to decide anything for herself because some asshole with a god complex chose for her. She never saw the end because she died for a man's sick idea of art. I shiver, and Izzy twines our fingers together.
At least at the most, Chloe was able at least to have some definitive relationship with Rachel for, what was it, about 2 years? Yeah, because Before the Storm is like 2 years before the original game. So at least Chloe and Rachel had at least 2 years to enjoy their relationship, whatever relationship they you guys want them to have. So yet again, clearly something Steph is not gonna get over so easily is, all of that loss.
Okay? She asks, concern etched into her brow. Yeah, I lie. Just felt a chill for a second. Probably a sympathetic brain freeze, says Ollie through a mouthful of snow cone. I nod and crack a smile. Today isn't for thinking about death. Today is for living, for rainbows, for kissing the girl beside me. I lean into Izzy and breathe her in. I am happy. I repeat it to myself until it's true. I hope somewhere Chloe is happy too. Me with Izzy, Chloe with Max. I met Chloe's girlfriend a few years ago at a show. The High Seas were playing, and I was helping to run things backstage. Max was cool, quiet and artsy. Not at all the kind of girl I thought Chloe would go for. But they worked. Max knows the Chloe of before. Before Rachel, before Chloe's dad died, before the storm.
Hey!
Chloe found love by looking to her past. But me? I'm fully focused on the future.
Alright, hold on real quick. Woo! Ah, shit. Ah, there you go. Alright, book, you got one tissue out of me. One tissue out of me with that whole thing. And nice to actually have, even though it was off screen, well, everything's off screen because it's a novel, but you know what I mean. But it's nice that they were able to have a meeting between Steph and Max, because we learned that obviously Steph wasn't a made character in the original game and was never created or meant to be in the original game whatsoever, because that was Dotnod, and Before the Storm was Deck 9, and Steph is a Deck 9 creation, so obviously. And in Wavelengths, we learned that Steph was out of town with Mikey during the events of the original game. So that was a nice little way of explaining, why Steph wasn't around. But it's nice that they put in a flashback explanation from Steph here that she still has contact with Chloe. They're still friends, and that Steph met Max and stuff, and all three of them actually hung out together with the High Seas and everything, with Pixie and everything, and having that relationship from the comics being moved, referenced, and acknowledged here is pretty cool, because it's a fun little fan servicey thing of what if Max met like Steph and things like that. So it's nice that they bring it over in a very logical way that, again, doesn't feel forced, because it's very easy to do stuff like that where you just force things in. So A+. You got one tissue out of me right before we finish this last chapter for the stream. So good on you, Rosie. Good on you, and good on you, Katie, for your delivery and everything during this whole thing. So I love you guys and I hate you guys for it at the same time.
Let's go on a food mission. I say, I need to move. I need to eat. I need to think about something else. I turn to the others. Any requests? Cake! Jordy wails an imitation of the current musical act's unfortunate falsetto. I'll see what we can do. I take Izzy's hand and begin the process of extracting us from the maze of other blankets spread across the lawn. Izzy sighs, relief cascading across her shoulders as we step away from the crowded space. maybe I wasn't the only one in need of an escape. Too much peopling? I ask, once we're out of earshot. Izzy nods and leans into me as we walk, her head tilted slightly toward mine. There's this period of time in any relationship, romantic, platonic, or otherwise, when you begin to learn the other person's nonverbal cues. The little glances that mean they're uncomfortable, the mannerisms that mean they're nervous, the silences that fill with unsaid anxieties. I realize with a jolt that I'm beginning to know Izzy's. We haven't been dating for long, but already I can tell that there's something hanging in the space between us, that if I stay quiet for long enough, she'll say it. We get lemonades from a nearby food cart and clink our plastic cups together. Cheers, I say, grinning. You look happy. Izzy takes a sip, rolling her straw between her teeth. Just thinking about last week, when the waiter came over and we stopped holding hands just in case. I twine my fingers with hers and look down at our clasped hands. Fuck, it feels good not to worry about shit like that. Even just for one weekend. Izzy nods and leans her head on my shoulder. Yeah, one little oasis in the year when you don't have to feel like it's you versus the world. I turn my head so I can see her face. Calm and quiet, like all the thoughts that are normally storming in her brain have taken today off. Clear skies only. Hey, I tug on her waist. Who says we can't take a little of the oasis with us? You mean... I gesture at the vendor booths lining the side of the festival. Let's each pick one thing, okay? That way we'll always have a little bit of pride, even when June is over. We make our way through the stalls. There's jewelry, t-shirts, and all kinds of art. I can't even begin to decide what sort of thing I might want. Really, I just want it all. And Izzy finally suggests that we should pick for each other instead. Ta-da! She exclaims, presenting me with a large wooden block with the word pride spelled out in sequins. It's sparkly and bright and so pride. For your kitchen table or something. I take it and hold it up so sunlight bounces off the sequins. I love it.
Funny part about the little pride wooden pride thing that she made. That's clearly supposed to be the wooden pride thing that that Steph has in the wavelengths episode when she has all her pride stuff on display during the Pride Month section of wavelength. Because that's one of the items that you have to, at the end of the section, that you have to take down and put away in a box. So nice little backstory to that, additional backstory to that particular item and giving it some more meaning behind it.
I say. Never mind that I don't have a kitchen table. Dad and I usually eat separately, but that's fine. I'll put it in my room and maybe that will liven the place up. My turn. I grab her hand and we take off, continuing down the row of stalls. I consider a pair of rainbow earrings, but decide they aren't really right for Izzy, so I keep going until we find a booth with rainbow-painted wooden sculptures and accessories. What do you think of these? I ask, but Izzy's expression has sort of glazed over. Sorry, what? I trace the curve of her jaw with my finger, and I can see in her eyes that she wants to just skip back to gift-giving, wall herself back up and forget whatever's bothering her. Where'd you go? I ask. Did you tell Leah? Her eyes are unfocused as she crosses over to the table and picks up a barrette with a watercolor effect, swirling together the white, blue, and pink colors of the trans flag. That we're dating? Yeah, she knows. She turns the barrette over in her hands, brushing her fingertips along the curl of the maple. No. About me being trans? No. Why? Oh, just... Usually when people are that complimentary about my appearance, it's because they're trying to, like... I don't know, prove to me that they're not a transphobe. Like if they say the trans girl is pretty enough times, it'll make up for their feminist activism starting and ending with people who have uteruses. Izzy. I lightly cup her elbow and wait for her eyes to find mine. I know there are people out there who absolutely do that. And I know that's probably really hard to swallow. Dealing with that kind of stuff all the time is so shitty. But you also have to know, you are really pretty. Yeah? She looks up at me through long dark lashes, eyes quivering like she doesn't quite believe me. I've always thought that, and I'll keep telling you so as long as you still want to hear it. I pass the vendor a crumpled $20 bill for the barrette and brush Izzy's hair back into a half-up, half-down pony. For example, I like your hair, I say, running my fingers through it. And I don't know if you've noticed, but you have these incredible eyeballs. Izzy chokes on a laugh.
Okay.
I ruined it with the word eyeballs, huh? A little bit. But she smiles up at me anyway, and I see my opportunity for redemption. Oh, you've got something on your face. I point to my own, waving my finger around my mouth. She wipes at her lip and says, "Did I get it?" "Nah, here. Let me." I swoop down to kiss her. "Got it." "Are you sure? Maybe you should double check." And she leans in for another. Laughter bubbles up between us, and the moment feels so light and happy, like nothing can ruin it for us. The stark contrast between this and our date, when a homophobe seeing us share affection was dangerous, to this, where queer love is all around, makes me nearly burst, like skin alone cannot contain my euphoria. But Izzy stalls halfway to my lips and rests back on her heels. Her spine goes rigid and her grip on my waist goes limp. "Izzy, didn't expect to see you here." I turn around to see a familiar trio, a blonde, a brunette, and a redhead. The remaining members of Vinyl Resting Place bracket us. Why not? Still gay. Izzy growls under her breath. Kicking me out of the band didn't change my sexuality. Astrid raises one eyebrow, plucked to early 2000s levels of thin, just like my patience for her passive aggression. "Right," she sneers, "but you're not competing in Battle of the Bands, are you? There's no way you have a new band already." I step forward, chin up, jaw hard. Actually, she does. The mean girls give me a once-over, recognition sparking all at once. With the groupie, "Hey, I'm the first to admit I'm the #1 Izzy fan, but..." "Leave it, Steph," Izzy mutters. "We're not playing, just here to watch." "Too bad," says Astrid as they back away. "Would have been fun to battle." She points at the stage where our friends are camped out. "We'll see if you still think that when you lose," I shout after them. But Izzy is tugging on my shirt, so I settle back and try to extinguish my anger. "Sorry," I say, though it doesn't really feel true. "It's okay, just, still raw." Izzy trails a hand along my side, a soothing motion. Astrid's always known exactly how to hurt me. I was really looking forward to playing Battle of the Bands, and they know it. Fuck. I hate that they get to lord this over you. We should totally be playing. Imagine how good it would feel to beat them with that new song. The one they didn't want. Izzy's nodding, but I can tell her head isn't here with me. I don't know. It probably isn't good enough. Hey! I shake her lightly by the shoulders. It's a great song. And we're gonna practice a lot, okay? We'll get so good by this time next year, Vinyl Resting Place won't know what hit 'em. And you think we can beat them? She asks it so earnestly, so breathlessly. It takes everything in me not to just kiss her. I take her chin in my hand and I look directly into her warm brown eyes before I say, I think we can win. 8.
And with that, we will stop it there. And we will, there we go, bookmark it just in case. And we will continue from here, chapter 8, next time. So, pretty cool, pretty good stopping point, because now we set up a main conflict and objective to go, because now since we formed the band and we got the relationship started between Steph and Izzy, now we got an actual objective and stuff to hit with the band part of actually getting better, because we want to rub these assholes former band members noses in Izzy's success. So that's nice. So we'll see how that goes, because they said it's a year, because she said this time next year. So I'm assuming we're going. So we're gonna be getting a little bit of their progress and stuff up to that year, and then obviously we gotta do the actual competition itself, because it wouldn't make any sense to build that up and have no payoff to that. So can't wait for that. That's gonna be fun. We still got a ways to go in the book, so we still. How much more of the book we have? It says a little under 6.5 hours. So we did about like 2 hours. So that's good. Making good progress. So any case, hopefully everyone enjoyed. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. This is definitely probably something you guys don't see very often of, is a novel audiobook stream here. But since I'm covering the entire Life is Strange franchise for the overall 10th anniversary year, why not do the stuff outside just the video games? Because this franchise is definitely a lot more than just the games. So with that, everybody, this is JR signing off, and I will catch you guys in the next.